Good evening, folks. Welcome back to another Wednesday night hobby hangout. I hope you all are very, very well. I hope you're all nicely tucked up at home. I've just seen some things about it snowing outside. I think it's starting to snow here as well. It's been pretty cold today, and I know the forecast is for quite a bit of snow over the next few days. So, yeah, what better place to be than tucked up indoors with your paints and maybe it's a nice warm drink ready for a bit of a chilled out night. Let's have a look and see who we've got in the chat tonight. ASDF in, nice and early hello to you, mate. Mark Wright as well, evening fella. Lord Maiden in, nice and early as well. Marcus the Spider Pumpkin Man, good afternoon to you, mate. Dirk is in as well, saying, what, 24 minutes? Because I'll have to hurry. Don't start without me. I saw that you were in, mate. I waited for you, obviously. Peter Kuhlman, hello. Hello to Christian as well. Nice to see you, fella. Hope you're well. Busey's in as well, saying good evening all. Oh, excuse me, I suddenly got an itchy face there. We've got VG in as well. Good morning, VG. Hope you're well, sir. Stuart Hayes, good evening to you. Ortega, doing his usual drop in and CLC on the catch up in the live stream. Hello, Ortega. Simon Dave was in as well. Good evening, mate. Scott Longworth saying he can't join tonight as he's on night shift, but we'll catch the rerun. Good evening, mate. If you've just watched this little bit, or hello if you watched this back in the rerun. And I hope your shift wasn't too taxing. Hello, Tim Kelly as well. Saying I hope everyone is grand. I'm not bad, mate. I've had a pretty constructive day today, I would say. I was trying to think of the word. We'll chat about that later on because I've literally never stopped all day. I actually stopped working to have my dinner tonight and help put the little one to bed. And then I've been back working again right up until 5 minutes before we started streaming. So, yes, we'll talk about that later. Jimmy Moresco says, good evening to all from Texas. Hello to you, mate. Hello to the Texans as well, if there's any more in. Blizzard says, hellos. Hello to you, mate. John Estel says, good evening or morning or afternoon. All nice to be joining you on this beautiful evening. Yeah, it's not. I quite like the cold, actually. It's quite nice to get wrapped up warm. I don't like it when it's kind of chucking it down with rain. I don't like it when it's really windy, kind of lashing in your face and stuff. But if it's just cold, actually, it's quite nice just to wrap up and have a bit of a brisk walk. James Zorn, good evening to you, mate. Hello to Stu as well. Says looks forward to chilling out for a bit whilst the snow piles up. That's the bit that I read, mate. Barry saying he's backed up with endless meetings at work. I'll try and check back later. Nice to see you, Barry, if you were there seeing this. Good evening, Ruth. How are you doing? You always get the wave because you always hear waves. Ruas is in as well. Good evening to you, mate. He says, I don't know anything about Malifaux, but always like hobby hangouts. The thing with these hobby hangouts is that you don't need to know anything about the game that I'm painting. You don't need to know anything about the models. You don't even have to be interested in them. Essentially, these hangouts are me painting minis that I either want to show to you or painting stuff that I just need to get painted for other videos and stuff. So yeah, don't ever worry about the whatever. I try to kind of have different kind of topics just to interest different people really when it comes to the hobby hangouts. But essentially, I think on a Wednesday we talk less about the hobby in general, and we just kind of hang out and paint together. It's more of just like a nice little kind of like a talking shop basically. Peter Nicholas, hello to you, fella. He says insert appropriate time here. Yes, let's do this. Frantic as well, hello to you, mate. Jeff Higdon, hello. Flying Mammal says might paint a bit more of Lord Chompy. Oh, go for it. What a model that is. I love it. Nicholas Anderson as well, hello. He says finally able to join on a live stream. Welcome, my friend. And Phil Campbell as well saying evening, folks. Hope everyone is well. I'm very well, thank you, Phil Campbell. ASDF is saying we mainly talk about bacon butties. I had a nice bacon butty today. I had a bacon and sausage butty today, and I leave it up to you to decide whether it should have been brown or red sauce. Will C says Malifaux 3rd edition is fun. Malifaux 4th edition, I don't know. We're in 3rd edition now, mate, to be fair. 4th edition doesn't exist yet, so maybe you're thinking 2nd and 3rd. Ruas says this is exactly why hobby hangouts are great. Yeah, I think so too, mate. We never get like huge numbers on them, but we seem to get like a core audience that just comes back every week. And I think with the way things are with lockdowns and restrictions in gaming and not getting out to see friends and stuff, I think it's a nice way for us all just to get together once a week and just chat shit, basically. Stu says, bacon. Yeah, I got up this morning and decided to go for a walk with my wife. My wife had a little bit. She wasn't particularly well, to be honest. She's been a little bit. I think she's eaten something a bit dodgy. So we decided to go out and get a bit of fresh air this morning, have a little walk along the seafront, which is right next to where we live. So yeah, we had a little walk, wrapped up warm, had a walk along the coast. And on the way back to the car, I kind of passed my favourite little coffee shop who's doing like little takeaways through a hole in the wall at the minute. So I thought, yeah, I'll have a cup of coffee and a sausage and bacon sandwich. And that was my lunch, basically. And then I got home, and then I've not stopped working since. I think it must have been about 11 o'clock, I think I got home. And then I've not stopped working since then. Beauty says which sauce, etc. Peter says I had 4 bacon butties in the last 10 days. It's been a while since I've had one. I think Christmas was probably the last time I had one. Although to be fair, that was only like 2 weeks ago, wasn't it? Lord Maiden says I managed to have chip shop fish and chips for dinner. I haven't had a chippy in ages. James says bacon and sausage butty. Now I know. Yeah, I thought I could have an option of bacon or sausage. I didn't realise I could have an option of both. I noticed on the little menu today, so I thought, yeah, why the hell not? Will C says, oh yeah, Malifaux 2nd edition was good. Whoops, yeah, need this video badly. Yeah, we can have a chat about Malifaux and stuff if you want, as we're kind of going through it. VG says, so what's everyone working on? I'm continuing on my Blitzball Chaos team. Yeah, we need to see some pictures, mate, or colours you're choosing and stuff. And Peter's having a chat there. Egg found itself in there. So egg, I'm not a fan of, we're starting already. I'm not a fan of fried eggs in sandwiches because I like an egg with a runny yolk, but as soon as you bite in it bursts and goes everywhere. So, yeah, I tend not to put eggs in sandwiches. ASDF says, I'm trying to get this Scorpion Destroyer finished for Ace of Base. Speaking of Ace of Base, folks, we've got about, is it like, I'm trying to think now, about a couple of weeks left before, or is it less than a couple of weeks? I think it's like the 24th or something at the end, so probably 10 days, a week and a half. Yeah, just under 2 weeks, that's right. Before Ace of Base is finished, and we'll be doing the live draw on the following Monday. And I'm getting quite a few submissions in there now. There's a few people who have finished them. Some absolutely beautiful models. I'm looking for. I'll show them all off as well, regardless of whether you're a winner or not. We'll do a bit of a community showcase on a Monday, and we'll show everybody's entries off. So just send me one of the models that you've done, and we'll get them all in the community showcase, and then we'll randomly pick one, and we'll get them a small prize and get it sent out to them. Let's have a look. Where was that one again? Started you make me hungry. Sneaky game of Wingspan. I've never played Wingspan, mate. Peter's doing his Colonial Marines from Aliens. Lord Maiden says, so as per the Facebook post, I'm painting a Malifaux snake. Yes, mate. Warwick Dark Edge, good evening to you, mate. He says, eggs belong in cookies and cakes. Yeah, I don't mind a boiled egg once in a blue moon, or a poached egg on toast. John says, is he stay off tomorrow? There's bacon in the fridge and eggs too. If you want to do a socially distanced poster through my letterbox, mate, I'm not against that if you make me a sandwich. Yeah, it's DFC in 11 days. Peter says, let the yolk run, it's tasty, that counts. Stu says, good evening, Stu the Monk Turner. He says, I have a stupidly busy day in work, so just chilling tonight. I like that sometimes, when people just kind of just think, you know what it is, I'm just going to put my feet up, maybe have a little drink, just kind of just chill and hang out with folks. It's nice, that's what these are for. Tim said he's working on some Soviet tanks and light mech for Conflict 47. Need a pause to let washers dry. Might assemble some Blood Bowl and Malifaux gremlins. Nice, mate. I tell you what, your Soviet stuff is looking fantastic, mate. I was looking at it, all the different pictures that you'd shared on Instagram. It really looks great. Marcus says, so funny story yesterday. I bought a Nighthaunt Knight of Shrouds on Ethereal Steed on eBay, but I did not look at where the seller was located. So a minute later, I got a text from the seller. Marcus, I bought a friend's from the game store's model and dropped it off at my house since he lives 3 blocks away. That can't be bad, mate. Kind of talk about service, eh? Phil says, painting some Blood Bowl Chaos Flings. Is that for Apocalypse Miniatures? Nice one. Simon Dave says he's painting up some dirty word bearers for Heresy. Hopefully get them ready for Ace of Base. Yes. Stu says we're all winners. That's the way I see it, mate. That's why I tend not in general not to give away prizes, because it's not a competition, it's a challenge. But it was just, we're at a bit of a flat spot, I think, at the minute with New Year and kind of all these lockdowns and kind of restrictions, still not being able to get games in. I just thought there's a little bit of motivation to kick the year off, and I haven't done a challenge in a while. We'll just give a little small prize. Dirk says, 2 occasions you do want to have some food before grocery shopping and chatting with the BlackJack arenas. I agree, mate. Peter says, I've got no clue what I can do for basing that's different. It doesn't necessarily have to be different, mate. It's just about kind of, can you do something to kind of raise your game a little bit, or can you do something that is above what you would normally do, or maybe a bit different. Maybe it's a different model, so you're basing it in a different way. But don't overthink it, mate. Just it's more about trying to get people to be motivated to paint something, really, with a reason to do it. So don't overthink it, mate. I'd rather folks just entered it and we get the show stuff off on a bit of a community showcase and stuff. Regis, I posted a pic in the Discord of the team so far. Basic theme is black and brass. Oh, nice, mate. Also trying to challenge myself a little and trying to do at least 2 different textured blacks. Oh, nice. I must have missed it, mate. I must admit I've been rushed off my feet. I've not really had a chance to check into Discord much today. Bobby says, good evening. Finishing off 5 Blood Angel tanks and then slapping on some varnish. I tell you what, mate. The amount of stuff and the quality that you get through it. I'd love to be a fly on the wall one day, mate. Peter saying, Blood Angels tanks, let the traitors tremble. ER910, good evening to you, mate. He says, eating pasta salad with chicken. I will paint something later. Or read comic books. Yeah, whatever kind of tickles your fancy, mate. Martin, he's putting the final touches on his Ace of Base challenge. We've got to pour some resin. John saying, I would, but I think a bacon sandwich on the passenger seat wouldn't make it through the drive. And Andy Smith says hello, and Kath's still building his Slanesh, and he's drinking cider. That can't be bad, mate. Right, on that note, let's get over to the painting. So, where you will have saw a couple of weeks ago was, let me just zoom in a little bit here. This is the model I was painting on the stream. So this is Lord Cooper. I've left the bases because I want to do all the bases together basically so I can get them to match up. But this was where we kind of left him. In the background, you'll not have seen, but I've been painting. So these are the Runaways. So got the basic kind of base coat onto these. They need some kind of to wash, like Agrax and maybe a bit of the Gulliman flesh on the skin tones to kind of tone them down a little bit. But they're not a million miles off. Got this little fella here as well with his kind of he's Santa's beard. I think mine's going the same kind of way. It's looking like it's getting more silver every day. I don't think I'll be far off that. I mean, that's had 1 coat on there, and I was considering doing a second coat on it now. But to be honest, by the time I put the wash on it, it'll all it'll pull together. So that's the second one there, and then the third one here as well. Again, these are just the base coats. I've not done any kind of shading or anything else. That's anything that looks like it's shaded is essentially the Zenithal Prime from underneath. So these have just been base coated. So those I'll get done a little bit more on tonight. We've got, if we've got time, we've got these 2 little doggies to do as well. So this is Ulor and Artemis, the 2 dogs. And then the one we're going to start with, I think, tonight. Actually, I might put some washes on the other ones first, and then we'll get onto this one. This one is called Model 9, and he's kind of like a what are they called? Like a construct type thing. Like some kind of like robotic thing with throwing knives and stuff. So I think we'll put the washes on, let them ones dry out, and then we'll crack on with Model 9. So let's make a start, folks. Joachim saying good evening. Hello, Joachim. How are you doing, fella? He said, sorry he's late. Took a while to get warm in the sauna after my walk in the snow. A sauna. I mean, that's a very Swedish thing to do, mate. Time to paint some doors. Andy Smith said really good. Yeah, I like them, mate. Like I said before, I'm trying to kind of get them to a decent standard, but I'm not stressing about them too much. So, Miniature Adventures. Good evening to you. He says, evening all. I'm just slugging through the Battle for Pelennor Fields box and the Aliens. Another glorious day in the core. Definitely gone for your movie tie-ins, then, eh? Peter says, be grateful, mate. From the looks of it, your beard is much less silver than mine, and I'm 35. It's kind of in patches. I don't really kind of get it around the sides, but it's starting to come through in here. And I think the longer I'm growing it, because I'm kind of just going to let it go now, I think, and see what happens. I've not trimmed it for quite some time now. And when I say quite some time, it's probably like 2 weeks. It just feels like forever. So it's getting a bit raggy, like round here and stuff. And like there's a few flyaway ones but I'm determined not to keep like trying to shape it and keep trying to bring it down. I'm just going to let it go. Peter saying, oh yeah, we just read that one. Busey saying, I'd like to ask if anyone has used water washable resin for 3D prints. I've ordered a 3D printer and wondered if it was any good. I know that Christian did, so he might have a little bit of feedback. Peter says he's got a little grey in the beard recently. Peter, yours was looking fab, mate. I hope you still got it. Andy says, so we have the 3rd edition book, time to pick some models. Yes. Well, there is just so many nice models in that range. Right, which brush are we going to use? Oh, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll get the we'll get my cheapy brushes out. Oh, for doing the washes. Let's get this one. What's this size? We'll do a size 4, I think. Let's get that one out. Oops. All right. Lord Maiden said, I actually shaved today. I did let it go, but I want to see how long it takes. Yeah, it's been... I've never really just kind of let mine kind of just grow. I always end up kind of trying to shape it. But what I've done recently, it's always had a problem trying to grow it longer. It always gets really kind of dry and like kind of frizzy, if you like. But I read something about not washing it so often with like shampoo, just washing it with water. And it seems to be working a treat. Bear in mind, I never leave the house. It's not like it gets dirty anywhere. So yeah, it's I've got like beard shampoo, but I'm trying to not use it every day, if you like. So yeah, it seems to be making a good go of it. Marcus is saying at least you can grow a beard. I never used to, mate. It's probably like it's maybe only like the last like maybe 5 or 6 years, I'd imagine. Before that, it was just really patchy. Peter says, evening all, painting Necron Warriors. Yes, I might have to share a picture of my beard. Please do. We've got some fab beards in our community. And he says, who was doing the kit bash for models for heroes? That was Kieran made from Odd-Sided Dice podcast. Busey says brush soap. You see how much brush soap is, mate? I couldn't afford it. I couldn't afford to be doing that on my beard every day. Anyway, let's get some painting done, while we're sitting chatting. John says, branded beard oil, you'll make millions. I'll tell you what, mate. Maybe once I'm a fully fledged hit YouTuber with my extra long big beard, maybe all them brands will start sending me stuff. Who knows, eh? Certainly the Dollar Shave Club won't be banging on the door, that's for sure. Right. Just the trick with these washers is basically to get them on, but then keep them moving so they don't kind of settle and pool in one place. Years ago, I used to just put them on, kind of like just almost like just bathe them on, and I used to get loads of tide marks and never really kind of thought anything of it. But kind of over time, I've got a bit more used to it now, and the trick's just to keep them moving until you've got kind of like, you don't really want it to. I'll try and see if I can show a specific part that I mean, but yeah, just keeping making sure it covers everything. You don't want to miss any bits, because it always looks weird when there's a bit that's been missed. But you do want to keep it moving, if you like. So I'll come in and wash this bit now. Lord Maiden says, Sammy, I always shaved weekly as mine made my skin go nuts with eczema, but it settled down after a while. Yeah, I've been researching beards and about like all the different, like what's all the different oils and balms and what's the difference and what should I be using and what shouldn't I be using. But it seems to be working, just kind of almost just leaving it alone. Seems to be stopping it being so kind of wiry and stuff, because it gets uncomfortable when it gets a bit wiry. Like hairs start to curl up and tickle the inside of my nose and crap like that. So anyway, you didn't come for beard chat. Right. BlackJack beard chat. Yeah, I'm just saying you didn't come with beard chat. Andy Smith says, Kath says she hasn't got a beard. I'm glad to hear that, Kath. I'm glad to hear that. Not that there's anything wrong. You can't be too careful what you say these days, can you? But yes, I'm sure Andy appreciates your lack of beard. Right. We get a bit of wash on there. Phil says, looks like you've been eating sweets in bed and the fluff has stuck to your chin. Thanks, mate. How to win friends and influence people, eh? Right, let's get a bit of wash into the hair there as well. I've kind of intentionally done the hair quite light here, knowing that I was going to wash it over. So we should get some nice contrast in the kind of between the hair, if you like. Right, just run a little bit down into that necklace as well. Get a little bit of shade on there. A little bit around the waistband. Well, I went for an eye test last week. I was convinced I was going to need glasses, so I thought you were going to all have to see me with glasses on stream from now on. But apparently they're not too bad. He said, like, he gave me a prescription if I want to get them, but he said essentially if you're not suffering too bad with it, it's like it's really kind of quite a mild prescription, if you like, quite a light prescription, so it's entirely up to you kind of thing. So but it was more for long-sighted stuff. I think as I'm kind of getting old now, when I read my phone, like the brightness of the screen up close, I'm absolutely fine. And then when I kind of take it away and I look long distance, it takes a while for my old eyes to kind of adjust to longer distance. But then once they adjust, like, they're fine. So it's not like I can't see or anything. It's just my age really now. That's when you know, grey beard, eyes are starting to go. It's all downhill from here, folks. Phil says, oh yeah, we got that one. Maybe we can have a BlackJack beard calendar. What, like a month by month shot? It just gets longer all the way to December. Shave it off in January and then have a month's growth. I think there's a name. I think it's called is it a yead, which is when you grow a beard for a year without shaving it. It's actually got a name. Yeah. Andy Smith says we know different. Peter says, I've just joined the Thumbs Up Club. Has everybody joined the Thumbs Up Club? No, they haven't. 53 people in the chat, 27 likes. There's a few of you who haven't joined the Thumbs Up Club yet. Shame on you. Shame on you. Marcus says, okay, connect our two favourite topics, bacon, scented beer soap. Everything is made better with bacon, mate. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Peter says he shaved this morning, bloody rough again on my chin. Yeah, it's I've not shaved my head with a razor again like I did last time, because essentially for a few days it was like when I was wearing a woolly hat and stuff going outside when it's a bit cold, it was like Velcro. So I kind of gave up on that idea for a bit. Maybe when the summer comes again and I'm not wearing hats anymore. But since I've now got my fully branded BlackJack Legacy woolly hat, I'm making the most of wearing that when I'm out and about. You can get yours too, if you so wish. I look like a proper, like, fully branded tit when I go out, with my hoodies on and my mask and my woolly hat. But yeah, I'm just rocking it out. That's my work attire now. I actually make a point every day. I've said this before, but I make a point every day of when I start work, I put one of my BlackJack Legacy t-shirts on, or a hoodie or something if it's a bit chilly, and actually, like, feel like I'm putting my uniform on to start work, if you like. And then at the end of the day, I'll kind of take it off, get changed, and change it to something else. So yeah, it just feels like psychologically it's giving me a bit of distance between when I'm working and when I'm not working, which I think is not a bad thing at this time. It seems to be working out for me. I don't feel like I'm kind of burning out or anything like that. I'm excited to do stuff. Like I say today, I've literally not stopped since I started working this morning. I only stopped for lunch, for dinner rather tonight, and I'm really enjoying kind of doing what I'm doing. So long may it continue. Right, this is what I was saying, folks, about kind of keeping it moving. So you can see how there's like little patches on the back. It's just moving them around to almost pull the pooling parts off it. I'm intentionally not doing the skins because I don't want the skin to be too dark. So what I'll do is I'll let this wash dry, and then we'll go over it with a bit of Gulliman flesh. Just use that as a bit of a wash. Bloody hell, my phone is going nuts here. That'll ding dang do. A little bit on his weapon. But like I did with the first model I painted, the Lord Cooper model, I'm literally going to kind of wash it and then it's done. Unless it really needs any highlighting or anything like that. I was kind of pleased how the other one turned out, so that's what I intend to do with this one. Oh, let me scroll back a little bit. Quite a lot of Lord Mins, I can't decide what the underbelly of my snake would be. He has a black and red top with emerald spots. I assume they're normally darker on the chest, or maybe they're not. Yeah, I don't know, mate. Chris says, I tried the mint original sauce. I remain to be convinced it's a bit much. It wakes me up, mate. Honestly, you get a little bit of that in your nether regions, you know about it. There's no going back to bed after that. I just find it quite invigorating, mate. But I think it can be quite harsh. I think it's probably that's been causing my beard to get a bit kind of like dry and like wash all the oils and stuff out of it. So that's why. I still get kind of like showered with it. Like I still do all my bits and stuff. I'm not sure you didn't need that picture in your head, but in my face and that. But I don't use it on my beard anymore, and it seems to be doing the trick. God, I need to start up a second channel, like men's beauty regimes with BlackJack. I'm sure that would go down a storm, wouldn't it? Yeah, I'm sure you don't need to know my my beauty care regime, that's for sure. But yeah, it definitely seems to be making a difference not using it on my bits, on my beady bits. Not my bits, that's different. Phil says, only joking, when I grow out my beard, oops, let's get back, I look like Uncle Albert. There's nothing wrong with a bit of Uncle Albert, mate. I saw on Twitter the other week, I think it was last week, for those who know what Only Fools and Horses is, I've got no idea whether it kind of travelled overseas or not. But Only Fools and Horses, that clip where Del Boy goes to lean on the bar and falls through the hatch on the bar, was on Twitter the other day, because it was it like 30 odd years or something. That clip is like 30 odd years old now. I couldn't believe that. It instantly made me feel really old. Right, let's looks like that one. Just cracking on, getting it done. That's those three with a bit of wash on them. I think is the first one dry there. Certainly dry enough. I'll tell you what we'll do then. If that's dry enough, we'll get some Gulliman flesh on that skin. Yeah, Marcus is saying, don't forget to drop a like. Definitely, mate. Lobin says, you want bad eyes. I've been 4 inch short sighted since I'm 4. My eyesight's been alright, actually, to be fair. But yeah, it's certainly just a bit of age catching up with me now. Kath has a goatee. I'm sure she appreciates that comment, mate. Peter says, yeah, same here. I wear glasses since age 4. Phil says, you need a day's growth on your head or your hat keeps slipping off. Need that Velcro stubble grip in the colder weather. Where did that go? Christian, straight on there. Get your official branded merch. Thank you very much, mate. Flying Mama said, I like that idea. You put on a uniform to separate work and home. Good idea. Yeah, it seems to be working. I feel like I can kind of... I made sure I bought myself a load of kind of like branded T-shirts and I obviously I picked up one of all the different new merch stuff as well, just to make kind of like to check the quality and all that kind of stuff when I first was talking to Steve about getting them done and that. So I got myself a cap and one of the zip up hoodies and one of the pullover hoodies and one each of the T-shirts and the beanie hat. So yeah, I kind of I made sure I got a bit of everything, and it's just meant I've got a load of branded stuff now that I can kind of, so it means I can wear something every day and I don't have to kind of put it in the wash every 2 days kind of thing. I can kind of let it build up and then wash it all my work stuff on a weekend. But yeah, just being able to kind of like get up and get ready for work just kind of just puts me in the right frame of mind to start work for the day. So it seems to be working. And I think actually like the act of taking it off at the end of the day, like before I sit down to have dinner or whatever, and kind of just put something else on, is just psychologically it's just yep, right, I'm finished now. If I'm sitting on my phone kind of chatting or whatever, it's not like it's kind of work stuff. It's more like I'm just chatting to friends in Facebook kind of thing, or in the Discord or whatever, or I'm just looking at hobby stuff, or even if I'm just sitting painting on a night time on my own, it's kind of it's hobby at that point. So yeah, I mean, so far, I mean, how long have I been doing this full time now? Probably it'll be like a year in. Officially, it'll be a year in June. So I've been doing it 6 months, but probably slightly before that I was on kind of gardening leave on my on my redundancy stuff. So it's yeah, so far so good. Things are going really well with the channel at the minute. I'm getting like a real kind of like purple patch at the minute, and that's kind of motivating in itself. So the year's been a real kind of positive mental start really for me so far when it comes to work wise, and I'm still blown away by the fact that I get to do it, get up and do this every day for a job. So how bad could that be? Flying Mom says, or you can get stick on Velcro. Yeah. Vijay says, I lost 3 days of work yesterday. Was booked for theatrical job operating the video component there using automated system instead. Oh, mate. I feel for you. I tell you what, using automated systems, especially wait till it goes wrong, mate. Wait till it goes wrong, then they'll wish they'll have pulled you in. Alright, so again, with this is just a Gulliman Flesh contrast paint as opposed to a wash. It's weird. I've got some Reichland Flesh, which I used to use for skins and stuff, but somehow it seems to have gone really shiny. I don't know whether it's got mixed with something, or I don't know whether it's just really old and it's kind of going off and I need a new pot of it. But I've stopped using the Reichland Flesh, and I'm just using this kind of Gulliman Flesh, which over the top of a normal skin tone does darken it down a bit, but it dries a little bit lighter. So I'm happy with this, but again, the trick with these contrast paints, and I'm literally going straight from the pot here as well. I would normally thin it down, but to be fair, I kind of completely forgot. I'm literally going straight from the pot, and again, the trick is not to let it pool too much. It's more almost to use it like a stain and keep it moving, and not to let it kind of pool up too much in any of the crevices. Keep it moving about, and not to miss any bits either, because if you miss the bits, it's really hard to go back and kind of blend them in as well. So just down the bottom, the side there. I've got his face to do. Just inside his arm before I forget. But you can see, I'm not being particularly careful. I'm not like, these are not to win any awards. These are to get on the table and get them playing and stuff. I want to use these in my Malifaux video when I'm kind of doing my how to play stuff. So the idea is just to get them good enough. You're never going to see them like up close really on camera. They're going to be more like sort of at a bit of a distance. So they've just got to be good enough. So there's that one. It's quite warm in here tonight as well, so the washers are drying quite quick. Warwick saying he just got his GW pre-order for Necromunda Van Saw cards and House of Artifice book in the mail a month and a day after ordering. Did you order it direct from GW, mate? Did you? Because I know a lot of stuff's been massively delayed, hasn't it? VJ saying he's supposed to be Friday, Saturday and Sunday. Thinking I might bury myself in the 3-day solo game of Arkham Horror to feel better. I didn't realise you could play that solo as well, mate, the board game. I know I remember you saying you'd played it with a friend, but I didn't realise it was solo too. I think the best thing, mate, is if you've suddenly got time back that you weren't expecting, make the most of it, mate. I mean, it's not ideal. I'm sure you'd rather have the work and the money that comes with it, but if it's out of your control now, mate, make the most of the time that you didn't know you had. I find that's the best way to try and get over a bit of disappointment. Try and make the best of it. Warwick's ASDS is Andy's manscaping. Peter says BBB Blackjack's beauty bits. Exactly, mate. We get to like the male makeup stuff. William Jones, good evening, mate. He says that guy looks like me working remotely. Did you mean this one, mate? Is this what you look like on camera? Simon Davison, hey Andy, what did you use for the skin? It was Kislev flesh, mate. Just Kislev flesh from GW, from Citadel, and just nice, a build up of thin coats, mate, just to get like a nice coverage. And then I've just gone with the Gulliman flesh contrast paint, and I'm just kind of lightly kind of going over that and trying to keep it moving and not letting it pool too much. And essentially once it starts to dry, it'll dry a little bit darker, but to be fair, I mean, it's just skin. I don't know what the weather's like in Malifaux. Maybe it's warm. So that's how they're starting to dry. But you can see it gives a nice shade to it. It just gives a nice kind of warm tone. So yeah, I quite like that. It's just maybe missed a tiny little bit on the back of the arm there. Just try and blend that in. So yeah, they look a bit orangey, and then it starts to kind of dry down a little bit. I might just put a touch of it actually on his face. Just a little bit on around the side here. Keep the. That's it. Happy with those. Right, while that's all drying off, let's crack on. Our model holder. I didn't see that one. That one. There we go. What do you use for the skin? William Johnson, the old coot in the rags. Yes, I thought that's the one that you meant, my friend. Scott Latham, good evening to you, buddy. How you doing? Yeah, Scott's saying what's the makes your model holder? Yeah, it's the Red Grass Games one, mate. So I've got the original one, which Christian very kindly sent me as a gift, which is in my handle pot here. There it is. So these are the original ones, and basically they work just the same, but the tops are fixed. So if you want multiple ones, you basically have to buy multiple handles. And then these were the version 2 ones, where basically you bought them with. I've got some spare ones here. You bought them with these extra tops, so I can have all the models set up on them, and then instead of having to have multiple handles, and you can kind of turn them and rotate them. I just find them really comfy. And it also comes with, I've got it here, the newer ones, the version 2 ones, if I can get this out of the box, come with a magnetic base and a little kind of metal sticker. So the idea being you sort of stick that to your hobby desk, and then it's basically, it stops it getting knocked over. So when you put it down to do something else, get paint or whatever, it doesn't get knocked over. But I haven't stuck that down anywhere yet. I do have one of the GW ones as well, but I just don't find them as comfortable. I don't like the way it kind of bows out at the bottom, and I don't like the way that when you put a model in and it clamps the base, you can't like kind of paint around the rim. And if you're doing any fancy basing, if you're using these kind of like lipped bases with resin and stuff that can get sort of chipped and cracked, I just don't like the way they hold. And I'm not, they don't feel that comfortable. I use it sometimes for kind of spraying models and stuff like that, but I'm not as big a fan of the Citadel one. Basically for my comfort, my hand really. These ones they're just so comfy. They kind of, I just find them really good to use. So I've got like, in total, I think I've got about 9 of these tops. And then including the original handle I've got as well. It means I can do like a batch of 10 models and not have to keep taking them off the base and kind of switching them around and stuff. Lord Bain said, I do the same but with pyjamas. I finish work and go for a shower afterwards and then go to PJs. You just put clean PJs on. Vijay says, also a good sign for the family not to bug you. Dad's got his work shirt on. He's working, so go ask Mum. Yeah, unfortunately, normally when I'm working, my wife's working as well. And I mean, we've obviously both got jobs to do. It was hard when the little one was kind of at home, like when the nursery closed with the home, when schools closed and things, because my wife's diary's kind of fixed. Like, she has meetings during the day, and when she's on a call, like she's on a video call, she can't just kind of stop halfway through it to do something. And the stuff that I do, like, I mean, I guess anybody that works in like a kind of like a creative type of role, you know, once you get into kind of a certain headspace, you want to just keep going. Or if I'm filming something, I can't just kind of stop in the middle of recording something to then go and kind of like look after the little one. So I end up like not recording anything and just looking after him basically. And my wife will try and kind of arrange a diary so I get like a block of maybe 2 or 3 hours or something like that, where I can kind of maybe try and record something. But luckily the nursery's back open again basically. Like, nurseries are allowed to be open in the UK, but schools are closed. So we went back to nursery on Monday. So it means this week we've been cracking on getting some work done again. So yeah, that's kind of took a little bit of pressure off. It means we can both do our jobs again. Marcus is saying, I didn't need to wear glasses until I got into high school, but my eyes started going bad because I was sparring when I took a really hard hit to my temple, and a week later my eyes went bad. Ooh, that doesn't sound good, mate. Bobby said, I wear my commission painting t-shirt when I work too. No one ever sees me, but it helps me stay focused and in work mode. That's exactly it, mate. Nobody sees me. Excuse me. Nobody sees me either. Like, I'm in the house. I don't go anywhere. If I do go anywhere, I've got a coat on anyway, so it's not like anybody sees it. But it's just a psychological. It just helps me mentally to know, like, right, work mode. I'm working now. Even when I stop for a cup of coffee or like I stop to get some lunch or something like that, it's almost a case of like I'm having a lunch break. I'm not, like I'm not just kind of sitting about like tossing it off kind of thing. I've got to get back to work. I've got stuff to do. But I just find it quite motivating. It's kind of like, it's nice to have, like, it feels kind of like a bit silly really, but it's nice to have like some like branded stuff. It makes me feel like I'm like this is my business. Like, I'm working for myself. Like, psychologically, it's almost a bit of a motivator. So let me just get some thinners here. Oops, just dropped my glue. But yeah, it's psychological tricks. Whatever works for me. That works. So. James says, I love Guilliman flesh. I'll be honest, mate, when the contrast paints first come out, Guilliman flesh was the only one I thought was any good. But as I've kind of got used to using them and using them in different ways and that kind of stuff, I'm absolutely sort of blown away by how useful it can be as a tool. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily paint an entire model in contrast paint, although I have. But generally, I would. What was I going to say there? Generally, I tend to at least use them somewhere on the model. Like I used the reds on the Malifaux Lady Justice stuff because they just built up to a really like rich red and gave a nice kind of shade as well. Right, we'll use these cheapy brushes as well with my metallics. What size should we use on this one? I think we'll use a size 2. We're going to do the main metallic parts. I'm actually not that unimpressed with these cheap brushes. Let me just if I go, let me just zoom back a little bit. These were really cheap on Amazon. And I'd probably do a review of them at some point, but I wanted to use them enough that it was like a meaningful review, not just I've got these new brushes and they're fantastic because I've only used them once. So yeah, we'll do a little bit of a review on them at some point. Marcus is saying now his prescription for his glasses is not too bad and he barely needs them, mainly driving and watching movies. Warwick's in, yeah, ordered direct as the cards sell out fast in the States. They have a distribution centre in the US, but still took long. Even with the holidays, I think with the cards and stuff, mate, I think it's because they're produced in China, so it's the time it's being taken to get product. Soul Reclaimer, he says, evening, what faction is this you're painting? This is the new Explorers Society, mate. These are brand new models, only just came out this month. I was fortunate to get sent some of them by Weird Miniatures, so I've had them a bit earlier. But yeah, these are this is the Explorer Society, and this one is the Lord Cooper core box. Joachim saying, got to leave you for a little while. My wife insists that I play Azul. Look, make sure you get some games, mate. That's the important thing. John saying airbrush makeup tips. Yeah, and we can always do makeup brush tips as well. Like just like so when you're dry brushing your cheeks. Flying Mammal says, have fun playing Azul, definitely. Yeah, Lord Maiden says, Malifaux weather can be all over the place. We do have masters that use ice and fire. There you go, mate. You're exactly right. So if they got a bit of a tan on them, a bit of a darker skin, so be it. Right. I'm kind of winging this now because I'm not entirely sure what colour I want things to be yet, but we'll start with what looks like the robotic parts. And we'll go with metallics on that. The metal colour I'm using here is Iron Warriors, which is a nice kind of it's like a more a grey metallic, as opposed to the bright silver, and I really like how it looks with a bit of a wash over the top. I used it on his gun here as well, and I was happy in the metallic parts on his kind of shin and stuff in his arms, and I like how it looks. When you put the Agrax wash over the top of it, it ends up looking like a little bit kind of oily, and I just like how it looks. So, and I tended to give it a little bit of a dry brush of Necron compound at the end as well, just to give it a little kind of glint and give it a bit of a metallic shine. But yeah, it's just crack on with these. Just like I said before, I'm not being overly kind of careful with them. I'm just doing my best to get them table ready as quick as I can. But yeah, today I said I've been working kind of hard today. I've been grafting away. So obviously this morning I spent a bit of time getting ready for tonight's live stream, getting my camera set up and all the lights moved around and stuff like that, bits and pieces. At some point I will do that kind of studio tour and show you the difference between when I'm doing a Monday night live versus when I'm doing a Wednesday night painting stream. But yeah, so I got all them sorted this morning and got the stream set up and stuff like that. And then, as I mentioned on Monday's stream, I was talking about doing like how to play videos of different games, and I was going to start with Malifaux as a bit of a test to see what I can achieve and whether it's kind of good enough to invest the time and effort into doing multiple other games, and try and carve myself out a little bit of a niche on YouTube of being the how to play guy kind of thing, because there's a lot of people will do a how to play video for the game that they're interested in, but there's not many channels will do how to play for multiple games. If anybody's familiar with board games, people like Rodney Smith, who has a channel called Watch It Played, has basically carved himself out as the kind of the how to play a particular board game person, if you like. And I'd like to think over time, like I've learned how to make a sort of a, not to kind of blow my own trumpet, but I've learned how to make kind of like a quality video, if you like a better than just average. I'm just pointing my phone at it kind of thing. How to get some nice cinematic shots and B-roll and all that kind of stuff. So I think I've got like a potential to do something a little bit different with that. So today I've been basically crafting the script for the How to Play Malifaux video, which is essentially me sort of, rather than just doing rather than playing a game on camera, which would end up taking hours to watch, I'm essentially trying to turn the rule book into a visual explanation, and try and keep it down kind of like less than half an hour really. So it's easy to do a 3 hour kind of just this is how you play a game kind of thing or something, but actually there's a real knack to being able to distill that down into its key components, and being able just to kind of share the important parts really, the bits that basically, if you're interested in playing a new game, what do you really want to know? Because you don't need to know everything. You want a flavour of it really. You want to understand the basics. You want to understand why is it different to X, Y, and Z games, and what's the elevator pitch type thing. So so that's what I've been doing today, basically kind of rewriting the entire Malifaux rules into a script that I can explain how the game plays. So yeah, I'm quite happy with how it's progressing. It just takes time, that's all. It's not a quick process, but it'll be worth it by the end. And then you can all give me your feedback on what you think of it by then. VG says, I'm sitting here using 2 of the Citadel original handles, one of the new champagne glass ones, and one of the Redgrass second edition ones. Yeah, these are not for everybody. I'm not kind of saying that like the GW ones are bad or anything like that. These, for me personally, these are just really comfy in my hand, and I like being able to spin the tops of them. But yeah, I'm assuming if everybody all kind of all felt comfortable with the same thing, there'd be no point in having multiple different versions, would there? So it's whatever's best for you. But certainly for me personally, this I used to just use corks. I mean, I've got a drawer full of these. Essentially, what I used to do was these little MDF circles came from like a paint pot rack that I had, where basically all the little bits popped out where you could put the paint pots in, and I literally super glued kind of like champagne corks or prosecco corks in my case, super glued them down, and then I used to put like a bit of blue tack on the top and use them, and that was kind of comfy. But obviously you can see there's like I get a bit of strain across like the wrist here with holding it like that, where with these ones, because you're kind of holding right the way down, it takes a bit of pressure off here on my particular grip. So I use the corks for like airbrushing and stuff on now, but I use this all the time for painting. I'm so grateful that Christian sent me one, because I think I'd been talking about wanting to try them on a live stream or something like that, and then not long after that I got a little delivery, which was a nice gift from Christian, and yeah, since getting them, I've never looked back. When the Kickstarter came on for these like 2.0 versions, if you like, I jumped on it straight away. So yeah, more than happy with them. Right. Scott says, love the way you can spin the model on the base with your thumb. So glad I got them. The corks are now in the drawer. Yeah. So yeah, that's exactly where mine are as well, mate. For long sessions, I started to feel kind of in this part of my wrist here, because my hand was like that, I was kind of putting pressure on here. But then by opening that up, I mean, I don't know if you can kind of see it. Like, you see that tendon there? Let's see it. You can see how it tightens when I pull that and that's where I was getting a bit of strain on there. But with this one, it's perfect. Lord Maiden saying the handle does feel great. I found that you can get the version 2 handle and 4 extra caps for 20 quid. Yeah, they're not a fortune. I think I got this version 2 handle and about 9 of these caps, and it was probably only like 30 quid or something like that. Which is still cheaper than buying like 3 of the GW. Oh, I think the GW handles are about a £5, aren't they? So it's still a bit cheaper than the GW ones. VG saying 100% creative flow state's a big thing. So hard to get into, so hard to get back to once you've pulled out. Yeah, I mean, I've kind of... my wife's amazing, like, with kind of giving me time and stuff to be able to do stuff. And she is an absolute angel. And I think she kind of understands now after I've been doing this for long enough now that, like, I can be really motivated to do things. But if I've got a bit of like a bit of a mental block, a bit of a creative block of something like that, like, it's quite hard. Like, I think the time I struggle the most is coming up with topics for Monday night live streams. That's generally when I kind of suffer from like a creative block most often. And so sometimes, like, I'll have to just like sit for a while and really, like, I kind of troll through the internet. I look on Facebook. I try and get like, I try and read all the different like Facebook groups and get a feel for how people are feeling at a particular time. What's the big news? What are people talking about? That's where things like the motivational videos come from. I see a lot of people kind of like saying that they basically like, well, why am I bothering painting? I can't play games. I'm losing my passion for the hobby and stuff. Those are the kind of things that like give me the ideas. But once I am in that kind of creative mode and I've found my flow and I'm working through, it's really hard to just kind of stop and come back to it. It's weird because I never thought of myself as that kind of arty creative type of like mindset, if you like, but it's definitely a thing. There we go. What size that? It's a size 1. I'm looking for my size 2. There's that one. Have I put it down somewhere? There it is. Right. So we've got a bit of Steel Legion drab here. The reason I'm showing these on camera is I forgot to write down the paints I'd used previously, and I had to go back and watch the videos to see what paints I'd been using, and keep just like skim through it until I got to the next paint. So it's as much for me as it is for anybody else. And we're just going to paint these trousers here. The idea being I'm kind of using the same palette, like kind of colour palette, to just tie them all together and make them feel like, for all they're wearing different clothes and they've all got different like styles and things, it just ties them together to make them feel like a cohesive force, if you like, a cohesive army. So I'm just kind of using the same colour palettes to pull it all together. Andy Smith says, are the bases on these models out of the box or have you made them? No, mate, they're not out of the box. The models, the bases that come with the models are just sort of black recessed lipped ones. These ones are resin bases from a company called Micro Art Studios, and they're from the range called, I think it's just called Wood bases. So I bought these bases for myself, mate. I wanted to try and sort of, like, they're beautiful models. I just think they deserve, and because there's not a lot of models like in a crew, if you like, you normally have a maximum of about 10 models in a crew, something like that. Because I didn't need to buy a lot of the bases. I thought I'd kind of treat them to some nice stuff and try and up my game a bit. And again, if I'm just doing relatively basic paint jobs on them, nice bases just kind of set them off, really. So that's why I'm not painting the bases at the minute. I'm doing the models, and then by doing all of the bases at the same time is a bit of a what's the word I'm looking for? Like a what's it called when you paint loads of models at once? Batch painting. That's the word I was looking for. I'm going to paint them all like as a batch paint, and it means I'll be able to sort of replicate the same colour and style across them all in one go. So yeah, so they're basically they're resin bases, mate. I'm sure if you had like a 3D print or something, you could probably print something similar, but these ones were all just bought. I bought them off a company on eBay, to be fair. I forget how much they cost, but they weren't a fortune. They're probably like maybe like £1 or £1.50 a base or something like that. So if I get these finished, I think these will be my entry into my Ace of Base competition. For all I can't win it, I want to take part and I want to enter something. So this will be what I enter, I think, once these are complete. Right, that's the trousers done. I don't know what colour to do that piece on the leg yet, but we'll come back to that. John says, I tried to have the rule, if my office door is shut, the kids should find mummy. That's not worked out in lockdown. Yeah, I tend, the only time I tend to close the office door here, like my studio, my office, whatever you want to call it, is when I'm recording. So I think if people come up and they see the doors closed, they know I'm in the middle of filming something, or I'm recording like a voiceover, or I've got the camera on basically. But generally I kind of leave the door open, and if the little one's around, although generally it's like he's playing with my wife or something like that. So Peter says, we see you, Andy, and rest assured we are keeping you in check. Thank you, mate. Martin says, I still have yet to buy or use any contrast paints. Yeah, I think it's I think the problem with contrast paints was the fact that they were marketed as this kind of like one coat sort of like super paint, and that's not really what they are. They're another tool, a bit like I think of them more as like the technical paints, where you use them a certain way to get a certain effect, and if you treat them like that, you can get some fantastic finishes with them. But yeah, I think the marketing strategy maybe didn't do them the best of sort of starts. Steve Evans, good evening to you, sir. How are you doing? Phil Campbell says the contrast black and flesh terror red are great. Very smooth coverage. Yeah, one of my favourites is Talisar blue as well. I just love how, let me just show you which one I mean. I just love how vibrant it is. Like it's such a nice blue when you put it on. It always looks good. There's some of them that like I probably like a little bit less. I'm not a huge fan of the Apothecary white, but although I've probably not used it that much. Yeah, it's I quite like them. That's the only problem with this model. It's got such a, like I've pinned it into the base, but too much pressure, and it kind of, I mean, it feels pretty solid, but it kind of rocks around when you're painting it. That's the only thing I've got to be careful of. So this is just this is Castellan green. I just thinned it down with a little bit of airbrush thinner, just to kind of thin it down a little bit, so I get a nice thin coat of it on. Again, I'm not worried about getting a really heavy build-up of it, because I've used like a zenithal prime on this, and then when I wash it over with the Agrax, that will help to kind of bring out some of the shade and highlight as well. But you'll see that when we get to putting that bit on. I'm just trying to make sure there's no brush strokes in it, that's all. When you thin it down a little bit, sometimes you can get it a little bit too thin, I think, sometimes, and you end up with brush strokes in it. That's why you normally build it up like a few thin coats and a few thin layers. But for what I'm doing, it's more about kind of speed and effect. Right, let's get underneath here, if you can kind of see that. So I'm just going to paint underneath as well. Where are we up to here? Soul Reclaimer says, perfect, thanks. My son and I are getting back into it since 1.0. Very excited. Yes, mate, I'm getting back into it after 1.0 as well. I never played 2nd edition. I kind of dropped out around 2nd edition, because when they introduced Malifaux 2nd edition, not all models could be used. They basically didn't bring stats out for everything from the off. So the kind of like the group that I played with just became kind of like a bit fractured. Some people had models that had stats, so they wanted to play a 2nd edition. Some people had, like me, had models that didn't have stats, so we couldn't use them yet. So we were quite happy to kind of just crack on and keep using first edition rules. And the group kind of splintered away a little bit at that point. I stopped playing and I started playing War Machine instead, and Hordes. So I just went off and played a different game really. And for all I loved the Malifaux lore and the background and stuff, I just wasn't really able to get games because of the way second edition was introduced. It didn't make the rule set particularly bad or anything like that. I just I wasn't able to play it with the models that I had, and until I kind of settled down on that, I didn't really want to go and buy a whole new faction and stuff. So that was the reason I kind of drifted out of Malifaux second edition. But yeah, now third edition's had time to settle down, and I kind of picked up my Lady Justice box, and I picked up the Rotten Harvest, which was the Halloween special edition box as well. And I've painted up my Lady Justice stuff. You might have seen that on their channel. If you haven't seen it, you can check out my Instagram page. You'll see pictures of it there. If you're looking for me on Instagram, it is BlackJack Legacy as always. And yeah, and then obviously with showing some of that stuff off, I think Weird Games must have saw something and decided to get in touch and said, would you like to take a look at some of the new stuff? So yeah, so we're diving into third edition with both arms and legs. And again, I'm not going to be getting any games in anytime soon. My wife is saying that she wants to give a miniatures game a try. I think we might start with something like Warcry though, to kind of ease her in a little bit. But yeah, it would be nice for her to give it a try and see what she thinks at some point. VJ says, by the way, if I haven't mentioned it on here before, if you use lots of contrast paint, check out Dr. Tabletop Drop Tops, but use your clippers to trim down the center pin on the cap. They are great. Oh yeah, they're the top things, aren't they? Yeah, especially for measuring your mixes if you're mixing colours and mediums. Warwick Dot says, I like the big T-Rex you got for this faction. Yes, mate. I think I've put it in my 2 paint pile, so it's not handy for me to grab at the minute. But yeah, I did get the Mallosaurus Rex. Tim says, are the bases your design or part of the mini? No, they're from, I think I mentioned it before, mate. They're from, Micro Art Studios, who are a company that just do kind of like resin bases and bits and pieces, terrains and stuff. Phil says, some of the contrast paints are really useful for washing metallics. Yeah, a lot of them look nice over metallics, mate. Paul Inman, good evening, mate. He says, my eyes are starting to feel the strain a little these days. I can still paint without a magnifier, but it can be a struggle, especially painting by a lamplight. Now I use a magnifying hobby lamp. I struggled using a magnifying hobby lamp, mate, because what I found was if you get the magnifying glasses, they work really well because you still get the depth perception. But I couldn't do it with just a magnifying lamp. I lost all sense of kind of depth perception on it. But because I paint with like a camera in front of me, it's hard to then have a magnifying lens and get it on camera and do everything right. So I've just learned to kind of to not worry about fine details and just and paint with my eyes basically. I'm just deciding what colour to do the inside. I think I might do that a darker green, and we'll contrast that with a Caliban green. Nicholas Anderson says his eyes had given up on him. He's gotten so much worse during the pandemic. Too much screen time and mini painting, I guess. When I was just painting for fun, like just for myself, I literally bought, if I can reach them here, I bought some really, really cheap, I didn't buy them for the style, let's put it that way, some really cheap reading glasses from like a supermarket or something. I'll put them on, just let you show you how weird that looks. So that they weren't for the particular style, but because they're like a really low prescription like reading glasses, they act as a bit of a magnifying glass, so they work really well for painting. So if anybody, I think these are a plus 1.25 magnification. They're cheap. I think they cost like £3 or something. I can just kind of throw them around. I'm not too worried about them, but it does just give a little bit of magnification, but you still get that sense of depth with them. Blizzard says, growing up, my eyes were perfect. Maybe even a bit better than, but with age, I've gotten diabetic retinopathy and glaucoma. So the glasses and the magnifier for me. Wow, mate. Actually, this is not the green I wanted to use. I want to use something, but I can't think what I used last time. That one's not been opened. That's how I know it wasn't that. I wonder what I used. Was it Vulcan green? That one's not been open either yet, so it's not that one. I wonder what it was. I'm looking for kind of like a dark. Was it Cavalite green? No, it wasn't that one. This is why you need to make yourself, if ever there was a reason to make yourself a little painting recipe, this is the reason you make yourself a painting recipe. I wonder what the hell it was I used. Right, in that case, let's just use... Yeah, let's use what I was going to use. Let's use Nocturne Green. I must have opened it. I've put balls in it, haven't I? What's it called? Like the agitators. So I have used it. I thought I hadn't opened it before. Yeah, this is the one I think I used. Getting old, folks. Getting old and forgetful. Peter says the thing that people look most for, in my opinion, is how much strategy's in a game compared to how much luck. Let me just drip this in. Does it use many modifiers? How easy to set up? How long does the game take? Table space, etc. Yeah, and that's kind of the things I'll be covering really. I mean, how long does it take? I guess it's a bit of a piece of string. It depends on how many points you play, and it depends how fast you play. It depends how well you know the rules and stuff. But I can give kind of a rough estimate. But I tell you one thing that it is working really well. The fact that I'm having to really understand the rules and read the rule book properly in order to be able to kind of teach it back through a video. It means I'm really absorbing the rules. I kind of like, I understand them now without really having to reference the book. So long term, it's a great way for me to learn how to play games as well. And it means when times allow, oh, that's too big, that brush. It means when times allow and I can start to play games with people again, I should be able to teach them pretty well. Peter saying the eyes do seem to take a bashing with too much hobby time. Good lighting seems to help. I've got loads of lighting on here. I've got a light on my camera. I've got a light here. Can I get that on in a shot? I've got a light here, like an overhead light. I've got a light above me there as well. So there's plenty of light on these models. But yeah, it's definitely important. I would definitely, if anybody doesn't have a good painting light, I would definitely recommend getting one. It's definitely worth the investment. I think I've thinned this down a little bit too much, to be fair. I might have to do a few coats of this green. Feels just that little bit too thin, but let's persevere and get it on. And let's give it another coat. Look at us talking hobby tonight, folks. What I saying, the GW holder is just weirdly small for me since I have long spider fingers, and using one was uncomfortable. Yeah, it kind of it just didn't fit the shape of my hand on my fingers as well. I know loads of people swear by them, so good on them. And it's one of them things that when it was announced, everybody was like, "What a complete waste of money." Why? I'm quite happy with my cork, or I'm quite happy with blue tacking to the tops of their paint pots. Thanks very much. In that general like let's bash Games Workshop for everything they do kind of thing. But I tell you what, once you get used to using a painting handle, be it the GW one or Redgrass, or there's loads of other companies make them now as well. Once you get used to using them, you realise why they're like, if you paint a lot of stuff, can imagine it makes a huge difference. Just to like the comfort and the like repetitive strain type stuff. Alright, let's just keep building up these little bits here. And then, as you can see, I'm just putting in the base coats here. It doesn't look anything fancy, but once we get the wash over the top and it all just... The washers, like, for all they kind of put a bit of shading into them and stuff like that, essentially what they do really is they just kind of tie all of the colours together. They just... That's why if you have like a certain kind of colour palette where the models where the colours complement each other, the wash just kind of tones them in together. It gives a lovely sort of finished effect to them, really. I mean, unless you're painting to a really high standard when you wouldn't necessarily need to use washers, but you're someone like me who's just trying to do the basics to a good standard. I find that they're a lifesaver. Right, that looks pretty decent. I have missed a little bit of silver there, so I'll just go back in and touch that silver up. Just around the back of the knee pad there. I think I'll also just do those knives as well. You can always dry brush them a little bit brighter silver once they're done. The same ones on the belt as well here. And this one. By the time we wash these ones, we'll dry brush them a bit of a brighter silver and stuff and make them stand out from the metallic arms and things. Alright, that's those bits. Now I've got some bits of red to paint. Mephiston red, that's the one I think we'll use. Flying Mammal says, night everyone, stay safe. That was like half an hour ago or something. Sorry, Flying Mammal, if you've already gone. Take care. You can look forward to Malifaux videos. ASDF asking what the Goblin Gaming affiliate link is. Yeah, thank you very much, Christian, for sharing that. Yeah, Goblin Gaming. The reason I use them is I think that their prices are good. They generally give 20% discount on most things, 15% on like sort of on certain other bits and pieces. But their delivery service is fantastic. They've been brilliant for delivery. And their customer service is really highly rated too, so that's why I use them. That's why I use them as an affiliate link. It's one of the reasons I switched over to them from using a different company, and yeah, I used them as a customer basically before I ever used them as an affiliate link. So thank you very much, folks. Anybody that does choose to shop through them, I do appreciate you've got plenty of options to kind of buy your minis from, so it does mean a great deal when you're choosing to shop there. Right, this is where we need to get quite. You might not be able to see this on camera because I need to get quite close, but there's basically like a cross across one eye here that I just need to. I need to paint in. And then these straps on the arm here as well. It gives it a little bit of a focal point as well. I like the contrast of the red against the green. Sometimes when you're painting red and green together, you've got to be really careful because it ends up looking a bit Christmas elf, but when it's only a very small amount of red like this, you can kind of get away with it. Right, and I also have to paint. There's like a little lens there as well. I'll try and get it on camera so you can see it. Now this is something I will highlight back up again once I've kind of washed it over. Because you won't be able to see that very well, but so Right, we'll let that red dry a little bit, and then we'll get the wash over that one. And then we can make a start on the doggies. In fact, I'm going to have a quick drink, I think, and a 5 minute social break. Let's see where the chat is. Let me catch up on the chat a little bit. Simon Davison, Schreiber does lovely bases. Never heard of them, mate. Vigi says, time to split. Take little guy to daycare and do the weekly shop. We'll be listening. I've posted a pic of today's progress. Thanks for coming in, VJ. I'll check that out, mate. Thank you. Oops. VJ saying, contrast paints come alive when you buy the medium and learn how to dilute. Yeah, I'd agree, mate. It does make a difference. Steve says it didn't help that there were major supply issues with the Malifaux second edition rulebook and cards too. I can't remember that, to be fair, mate. It was so long ago now. Told you I'm getting old. James Spray, good evening to you, mate. Paul saying, yeah, magnifying lamps definitely have a learning curve, but it doesn't take too long to master it. I just found I really struggled with it, mate. The lamp that is actually above here had like a detachable magnifying glass, and I've got in my cupboard there as well. I've got like one of those magnifying lamps with like the ring light in them and the magnifying glass in the middle, and I found that I just kept screwing up. Anything I needed the magnification for was like the fine detail stuff, and because I couldn't get used to the depth perception, I just kept ballsing them up, so I just gave up with it. Steve saying I use cheap reading glasses. Yeah, there you go. Mine as well. Caliban green, looks like Castellan green. Yeah, thank you, folks. That was it. It was definitely, that's what it was. Yeah. Peter says it definitely was. He checked it in the last stream. Thank you, mate. Christian sharing the link for the Patreon there. Thank you very much, Christian. We've had a few new Patreons as well the last few days. So Eddie, who joined on our Monday night live stream as well, it popped up on the live stream, and I didn't notice it till towards the end after he left. So if Eddie does get to watch this back, I apologise, mate. I did shout it out at the end though, and thank you very much. I did send you a message to say thank you. We got Didi there as well, who's joined. I think might be in the chat tonight. Colin Newbold as well just joined today, and Steve Evans as well joining today as well. So yeah, nice to see some new faces and new members in our Patreon support. Adam Edgar says sub black. Jack Blackers. Jack Black. Hello mate, how you doing? 20 Blue Lighting said couldn't get away with a magnifying lamp and switched to a magnifying headset with daylight lamp on either side. Yeah, I think if I had a bit more desk space, I would love to get a couple of like good lamps from either side. Whoops, because I'm waving my hands in front of the camera. But yeah, I'm a bit lacking in space, to be fair. By the time I've got like my monitor and my camera on a tripod and my microphone here as well, like kind of taking up space on my desk as well. All these kind of things, camera in my way. All these things kind of make it a little bit more difficult than your average painting area, I guess. Paul says I love my red grass painting grip, although I do have an alternative by a company called Rathcore that uses a cork insert, which is really useful for minis that don't have bases. Yeah, I can imagine that, mate. Actually, I did consider gluing some kind of cork into one of these sort of tops as well, because sometimes when I pin minis, I would pin them and push them into the cork. So yeah, I think that's a good idea, mate. Peter says darker green was indeed Nocturne green. Is that what I used? I can't remember now. Yeah, it was Nocturne green. Thank you very much, folks. Castellan green was the other one I used as well. Oh, it might have been Caliban green, was it? Was that one? No, colour. No, I didn't drop it on top of my mini there. Yeah, Caliban green was the one I definitely hadn't opened yet, so it wasn't that one. Thank you, folks, for checking the greens out as well. Lord Maiden saying I was the same with my second edition, but ended up printing the beta rules for the models I had. Luckily, my old job did not mind, and I recycled the paper afterwards. William Jones saying flying daggers do need stripes on his pantaloons. I love Malifaux sculpt. I love Malifaux sculpts. There's no. I mean, I don't think I'm steady enough to be to paint stripes. To be fair, I'll be washing them in a little while. Excuse me. Scroll down a little bit. Seriously, I only remember because I had my shop at that point. Okay, mate, that'll be why then. Paul saying, as far as products go, as luxury products go, the Rathcore grip is lovely. They're the ones with the kind of the pins on the top. I've seen them ones as well. I've often wondered what they're like to use. Steve Pegg, hello fella, how are you doing? He says, apologies for the hiatus in attending the live streams. I see the quality hasn't dropped one bit. Inspired me to crack on with some Warcry terrain. Good, mate. Thank you very much. And welcome back as well. Adam says, how many Blackjacks could Jack Blackjack if Jack Black could Blackjack? Probably just the one, mate. And Simon Dave says, Schreiber is a Polish company, I think. Bought a few dwarfs for special characters in AOS. Great hand sculpted style. Ah, nice. Right, I'm back on top with the chat and I've managed to catch up a bit. We'll get back to painting now. Right, I think that one is dry enough that we can get old liquid magic out. Ooh, 49 or 50 viewers and 45 likes. That's not bad. Do you think we can get a like to viewer ratio? Do you think that would be nice? Right, which was am I using? We'll be using this this big one, I suppose. Right, let's get it in, get it washed, do the magic, put the liquid gold over it, liquid talent. I'm sure there's people out there watching me going, oh, that's not what you do. You don't paint minis like that. You don't just bath them in Agrax. Guess what? That's exactly what I do. But it works for me. And after all, who else am I painting minis for? I'm painting them for me. Yeah, at some point I should get my old Malifaux stuff out. They're in my I've got a Malifaux or what's it called again? Who makes the bags again? Battle foam. I've got a Malifaux battle foam bag with my old version 1 metal minis in. I should get them out at some point and stick them on a stream and show you my painting from back in the day when I used to take forever to paint things because I used to think everything had to be to the best of my ability. And the quality is pretty decent, but I'll be honest, it's not. I'm not disappointed by dropping the level of my painting, if you like, because I definitely paint more these days because I've kind of peeled it back a bit. And I think by sort of dropping what I wouldn't say I dropped my quality. I've dropped the level that I expect from myself. And what that's done is it's allowed me to find some tips and tricks to speed things up. And actually, my quality is probably not a million miles away from when I used to paint to the best of my ability. The difference is now is it's like I say, I've learned a few tips and tricks and I've learned a few shortcuts, and now I get more done and I paint faster. So I think it's just it's a balance, isn't it? Right, just lather that on. This is what I was talking about when you start to get like little bits pooling in here. Just wick them away a little bit. Just try and blend them in. You don't want them to kind of lie too heavily. But you do want to make sure it gets into the recesses. There's nothing that looks worse than when you're putting like a wash like this over the top and you miss some of the recesses, and unfortunately it looks really weird once it all dries. So. Right, that, my friends, is pretty much that. We'll let that one dry. Oh, I need to get under there as well. Almost forgot that bit. And just darken that down a touch, and then just check the edges where I might have just flicked it over a bit. Right. Right, that's that one. Had a bath. Right, let's get on with the doggies. Oops. We'll just put these ones out the way while they're finishing drying off. Right. Peter says currently more likes than viewers. Yeah, it's because we lost some. It's because we lost some viewers. Although it is at 52 likes now. To be fair, that's all right. We kind of average about 50 viewers on these Wednesday night streams, and I'm happy with that. It's a nice little core group that we get. Adam says that's exactly how I paint minis. There you go, mate. See, not just me. Tasty Brain Drain. Good evening, mate. It says here it looks great, so keep doing what you're doing. Ah, it puts a smile on my face, mate. So I'm all right with that. Right, let's get some.
All right.
What's that one? I was just going to say that's just flashed up my phone. Phil Campbell just pledged $2, £2 buy of Patreon. Thank you very much, Phil Campbell. It's literally just flashed up on my phone at the same time. It just caught my eye. I thought that's the Patreon logo. What's that one doing? Yeah, I tell you what, like this is what my channel's doing. I mean, each one of these is a message from YouTube telling me somebody's commented on my videos. And it's going absolutely crazy at the moment. It's just unbelievable. Yeah, it's going pretty nuts at the minute, I'll be honest. Wowzers. Wowzers, wowzers, wowzers. Peter says, not everyone stays all stream. Life can get in the way of hobby time. Oh, 100%, mate. 100%. It averages pretty much 50 through the whole stream. So some people leave and some people join in. So by the end of the stream, there's normally been about like 200 people have been in to watch some part of the stream. I completely understand. Not everybody stays for the whole lot. But yeah, as long as people are enjoying them, like I don't do these, like it's not like these really help grow the channel or anything like this. I just find them fun. I just like hanging out with you lot. So yeah, that's what they're for. Adam says there's only one person needs to be satisfied by your painting style. Yeah, exactly, mate, exactly. It says probably people are asking for more airbrush videos. To be honest, mate, there's not. I mean, there's obviously been quite a few people have been asking for more airbrush type stuff, but so let me get back to what I was about to say there. The video I did last night, which is the giveaway, if you haven't seen it, was the 10,000 subscriber giveaway, which we hit 10,000 subscribers last week, folks. It's the next. It's the. Let's start again. The 10,000 subscriber giveaway video that I uploaded last night, where you can win a Kings of War Mega Army, courtesy of Mantic Games. I asked people to kind of just tell me what would they like to see more of, what do they not see on the channel that they'd like to see, if you like. And I'll be honest, I'm really pleased I asked that question, because I'm getting some fantastic suggestions from people. Everybody is giving me kind of sort of really some good feedback of some things that they'd like to see. So yeah, it's really given me some great ideas for future content for the channel, stuff I would never have thought of. So yeah, it's been a good question to ask, but the plus side of it is because in order to enter the competition, you need to answer that question. I'm getting lots and lots of feedback really about things, and I'm seeing patterns emerge of things, of games maybe that a lot of people are asking for. I'm seeing patterns from people that they've just found my channel through the airbrush videos, and actually and they're suggesting like maybe more airbrush video, but not necessarily the airbrush themselves, more about like sort of like what's the difference between an expensive airbrush and a cheap one. What accessories would you recommend? Like what about the extractor hoods? What do you think of those? And it's just like it's additional. And there's a lot of stuff about like hobbying on the cheap. What other bargain kind of accessories and things would you recommend? So it's just giving me some ideas for future content, really mixing them in with all of the gameplay type stuff when time allows, and the how to plays and the reviews and the live streams and everything else. Because coming up with ideas, as I mentioned before, you can get into a bit of a rut where you start to think, oh, people don't really want to, like, you don't want to like I don't want to make that. I don't think anybody wants to see that kind of stuff. And you start to kind of like second guess yourself. And actually seeing a lot of these comments coming through, it makes me think a lot of the ideas I had that I've maybe written off is actually stuff people want to see. So James says, we saw that message from Lou bigging you up, mate, love it. Yeah, I must admit, I saw it and then I pulled it away because I just thought it was a message from Lou. I didn't know what it said. Yeah, essentially, mate, it's I think I've done like 700 subscribers in the last week since last Wednesday. It's been going gangbusters. All right. Yeah, unbelievable. Stu saying, I spend forever and a day painting my models and they're still crap. What was that one there? Somebody just saying they were heading off there. Peter Koeman says, yeah, signing off now. Get back to up for work at 6 in the morning. See you, Peter. Thank you very much for coming in, mate. Simon says, I love these dogs. Can I have a whole gang of them in the game? You can't, mate, unfortunately. What I did was, though, you can see on this base, let me kind of zoom in a little bit and I'll show you the detail. In amongst the wood, there's like a skull in the base. So the way the dog is, I thought like these dogs are meant to be like hunting down people and stuff. I thought he would have the scent of the decomposing body there, so I kind of perched it so. And I just think it gives it a little bit of character and things. The same with these bases and stuff. There's little skulls and stuff in the base. Yeah, there's just a bit of detail and they're just like nice, and the little dogs are super quick to paint as well. But they've just got some nice detail to them. So I'm not doing anything too fancy with them. I'm going to paint them different shades of brown just so I can kind of tell them apart in the game, of like which one's which really at a quick glance. So yeah, Scott, I've just missed that as well. Scott Latham just joined Patreon as well. Thank you very much, Scott. That's just flashed up on my phone as well. They stand out on my phone because there's a little Patreon symbol next to the message. Thank you very much, mate. Welcome to the gang. Let me just move this light a little bit so I can get the light in the right place. That's it. We're getting focused. Let me move that out of the way so it doesn't focus on that one. Yeah, for anybody kind of wondering about Patreon and stuff like that, essentially when I kind of set down the path of trying to do this full time, I didn't want to kind of sell myself out of doing like sponsored content, because I knew for a fact that would force me into doing not only things that I didn't enjoy or maybe didn't believe in because I needed the money. It would also force me. Other people would kind of always think, oh well, I don't necessarily think I can trust his opinion anymore because he's just doing this because he's paid to. So I had to try and come up with a different way to fund the channel and to try and make it work. And Patreon and kind of trying to get support from the community that want to see those kind of like alternative videos, the non-GW stuff and things. I thought I'd give that a try, and I'll be completely honest, I've been blown away by everybody's support. And that's what's made, or it's partially what's made all of this possible. So yeah, thank you very much, folks. Everything I've earned so far from Patreon, I haven't taken a wage from it. I've literally been living off my savings just to kind of try and get a build up of money into this as a business, so I can invest it back into the channel. So as I expand a bit and try different things, I've got money there to buy sort of better lenses and better cameras and buy all these paints and things like that. That's allowed me to have, rather than trying to kind of make do with the few paints that I had, it's all just getting invested back in. So yeah, every penny you spend on Patreon, it helps me to kind of build this up for the future, and it's hugely appreciated. Right, that's one down. We'll come back and do the colour in a bit. Let me just let me zoom out a little bit. Martin Kennedy, hello mate. Says, thanks for the chat tonight, mate. Eventually managed to get on one, but most of it was just watching the TV while scrubbing the mortar again. We'll be jumping off soon. Thanks for coming in, Martin, mate. Nice to see you. Lobin said, I originally read that as Little. I thought it was why is Supermarket text message you. No, it said Lou. It's a good job I didn't have some kind of pet name for her that it pops up as a text, isn't it? Tim says, are there recurring requests for content? I mean, there's the obvious stuff. There's obviously people asking for more Kings of War content because I'm giving away a Kings of War army, so people who want to win it are kind of like proportionately like want are Kings of War players. So there's a bit of that. There's also people asking for battle reports, which is kind of to be expected and stuff. But there's a lot of people saying things like really like the lore video stuff. Would love to see some kind of more discussion stuff, interviews with like companies, with like games developers and games designers and people like that. Somebody asked me for a collaboration with Midwinter Minis. Said I want to see you do that. What was the other ones? A lot of stuff saying basically really appreciate like keep up the variety of stuff that you do. Like it's one of the reasons why we watch the channel. We like the variety. So yeah, it was just nice to get some feedback really and get some ideas from folks. So that's been the bit that I've sort of really taken from a lot of it is people like the variety. And there's been times when I've thought I'm kind of hurting the channel by jumping around between different games. For all that's what I enjoy, I'm kind of like I'm potentially hurting the channel. But what appears to be the case is actually people like variety. So yeah, James, I think you missed another Patreon there, mate. Yeah, I did just pick that up, mate. There, Scott Latham. Thank you very much, folks. Yeah, keep me on it. It's because I've got the volume turned off, so when it makes a noise, when a thing comes up on the screen, if I'm not looking at it, I don't see it. James is asking what brand the bases are. Yeah, and Dirk's saying yeah, they're Micro Art Studios. I think I bought them off a company on eBay, to be fair. So they weren't direct from Micro Art Studios. Tony's saying those dogs are really nice sculpts. Yeah, they're nice and clean, mate. I mean, to be honest, I think they were like 3 or 4 sort of parts out of plastic, but you can't really see like where the joins are. I mean, you might be able to very likely see a bit of a mark up the back there where I think that leg and that ear was one piece, and I think maybe that leg at the back was separate or something like that. But yeah, it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell. Right. What we'll do is we'll get these basic kind of colours down on these. We'll give a little bit of variety to the kind of skin tone and stuff after the washes and stuff. Maybe dry brush the backs of the legs and stuff like that to give a little bit of variance in the colour, so they don't just look like one big brown sort of lump. Because I think with the brown wooden bases as well, they might kind of they might fade in a little bit. So we'll do something to brighten them up a little bit and give a bit more of a fur type texture to them. I never thought I'd be staring at a plastic dog's backside tonight. Painting under its tail. There we go. Scott says, keeping the variety is keeping us keen. I'm glad you think that too, Scott. I mean, like I say, I always there was definitely a period in time when things weren't really growing very well. I saw like other channels that like focus on one particular game sort of growing faster than I was and stuff, and I was thinking, you know, like I'm really kind of hurting myself here by keeping that variety of stuff. But people like, you know, like people like the Patreons and the community kept supporting me financially, even though the views weren't necessarily there. They were supporting me financially to kind of make us think like maybe it's got legs. Maybe I could still kind of like carve out a bit of a channel that does do different things, and it's kind of starting to pay off now. It certainly seems to be the people that do find the channel and stick with it. That's what they like. They like what I like, and that's what means I get to do the videos that I want to do and I'm excited to do and I'm motivated to do, rather than just doing the videos that I think people will watch. It's nice when the two come together. So yeah, it also means I'm not kind of like, I'm not forced. Like, I mean, like people offer me stuff quite often. I'll be perfectly honest. Now the channel's doing kind of like relatively well. I get most weeks some company will offer something up, or want me to kind of to cover their stuff. I get offers of like, can we sort of buy advertising type thing on the channel, and it's stuff that I'm not the slightest bit interested in, so I just kind of turn it down. It allows me to kind of pick and choose what I think the main audience that watch my stuff will be interested in, and is it something I would buy myself. There's the odd thing I might kind of get now and again where I think, I probably I'd never have thought of that, so I'll kind of give it a go. But generally, I turn down way more than I accept, because I just think it's a bit disingenuous, really, to just accept things when I've got no real interest in them. I'm not really sure how I can give a balanced and honest review of something when I'm already coming into it with like, well, I wouldn't buy it. Like, it's not my kind of thing. And there's been things that have been sent, and then I've genuinely once I've actually had a look at them, I've thought, nah, not for me. So yeah. Lord Maiden says it could be worse. You could have to paint goat balls. What, like just for a job? Just like real goat's balls, just having to paint them. Like those people that chase sheep around and just spray like coloured paint on their backs. Tony says, I've painted Kingdom Death minis now. So now painting things like dogs' bums is water off a dog's back. Adam says, there's quite a lot on your channel I'll never buy or play, but I love them to see it nonetheless. Yeah, and I think that's the case, mate. I mean, it's there's two ways you can kind of go when you're doing the kind of stuff that I do. Obviously, I'm never going to be like a terrain channel or just a painting channel, which is like more universal appeal, if you like. So the stuff I do, I've got two choices. I either basically niche down and make the absolute best content I can for one particular game, a bit like sort of Glass Half Dead does with his kill team stuff, a bit like I'm trying to think of some other examples now, channels that just do 40k stuff, for example. You either do that and do it really, really well, or you basically have to accept that you need to put out a high volume of content which is varied, so that there's always something for somebody to watch, even though they might not want to watch everything. And I think that being able to do this full time and being able to commit more time to covering lots of different things has meant I can put enough content out that there's variety for people to watch, and that's starting to pay off now. The subs are growing, the views are growing, and it means I can keep the variety because I've got time to do variety without sort of doing one video every 2 or 3 weeks kind of thing. Phil says, with a bit of variety, casting your net across a wider audience, there'll be something there for everyone, which is good. It just took a while to get to that point, because basically you're never big enough to command like a big enough audience, if you like. It's took me 4 years basically of kind of just consistently keep producing videos. I think I've done something like about, in fact, I'll tell you how many videos I've made so far. On the channel there is a total of it should tell me in this TubeBuddy thing. I've made 440 videos in just over 4 years. So that kind of gives you an idea of the amount of content I've had to do to kind of to stick at it. The reason other channels that do a variety of stuff basically don't grow is they just, one of two reasons. One, they give up because it's not growing fast enough, or two, they're not consistent enough. They might do like one video every month, or nothing for 3 or 4 months, and then a couple of videos, and it's that inconsistency that ends up hurting them in the long run. Luckily, I've really enjoyed it. It's why I love the community aspect of this whole thing, is because everybody keeps me motivated. Everybody watches and everybody comments, and like we're just like a big gang really, and that's what That's what's kept me going over this time. Right, I'm painting that green as well on the dog collar, just to try and tie it in with the colour scheme from the other stuff. Have to paint his little nose and stuff as well. Lawman says, yeah, I agree, and I love the honesty. You would think that it's easy to see a hidden motive behind things, but it can be hard to see that. I think some. I mean, I'm not sort of any channels that do like a lot of sponsored content. I'm not knocking them. That's the business model that they've chosen, and that's how they choose to kind of make money and make it sustainable. And it's a business choice. It doesn't make them disingenuous. It doesn't make them any less trustworthy. It's just that's the way they've decided to do it. But for me personally, it would mean that I would have to make videos about things that I wasn't that interested in, basically, just basically because it pays the bills, and that's not why I wanted to leave a full-time job, and basically end up working for all you're working for yourself. You're having to do stuff for other people, and that wasn't why I wanted to do this. So I just made the choice to do it slightly differently, and if it didn't work, it didn't work. But luckily, touch wood, it's going the right way. Right, let's get a little bit of Corvus Black just to do the nose. Andrew Fairbanks says, don't worry, I'm here. Andrew, I was starting to worry, mate. Nice to see you, fella. How are you doing? Right, I'm just going to do this neat out of the pot. So we're just going to put the little black nose on there. Oops, let's get it on the camera so you can all see it as well. That will be helpful. I like Corvus Black. It's very much like a grey black. I've missed a bit of the green on the collar there. Again there. Dirk says those how to play videos for different systems is a great idea if done correctly. There is currently only one guy doing such a thing, and his videos are riddled with errors, making them useless. I mean, it's definitely one of those things, mate, where you have to be 100% right, and you need somebody to double check stuff. You need to like really sort of double check everything you do, which is why these are not things you can kind of just do off the cuff. What I don't want to do, because like my wife suggested, like, how about like recording it where you're teaching me how to play, like as if it's like a demo game, and I considered that as an option. But the problem is you need to then do it on the fly, and you need to completely, like, you need to make sure you are 100% when you're giving basically like advice to the person you're playing against. And essentially what you end up getting is you get the kind of videos that like people like Beasts of War do, but the difference being is that they have somebody from the company who understands the rules inside out to kind of teach them. That's never going to happen like on my stuff. I'm not getting people from Nottingham or from the US to come to my house and into my spare bedroom to come and play games with me. So that's not going to happen. So I have to kind of do it a different way. And I think the way I'm trying to do them is by far the best for what I can achieve. I know I can do good video quality. I just need to be able to make sure I get the rules right. So that's why I'm literally scripting them out. I mean, let me just show you what I've been doing today. If I just push back a second and grab these. Like, I've literally been going through, let me go to this one. I've been going through all of the rules. Look, let me put it here. And literally going through right now all the text that I want to do as a voiceover or present to screen. I've been doing like timings, so I know how long each portion of the video will last. Like, these are the different bits. Where you see the yellow bits here is where I've got timings for each section, so I can decide if I want to do it as one big video, do I want to do it as like broken down into like separate smaller videos and do it as one like big playlist. Like, this is what I've been all writing up today. I've done about like 10 pages of stuff today of basically breaking down the rules as if I was kind of presenting, like as if I was showing you visually the rule book in case of like with examples of how rules work, rather than actually showing you the game playing. It's almost like you could learn to play the game from my video as opposed to seeing somebody else play the game. That's kind of what I'm trying to do anyway. Tony says, isn't it nice to paint an uncomplicated mini every now and again? It's absolutely great, man. I'm loving just kind of like just blot them on, get a wash on them now. Honestly, I'm loving painting. There's so much detail on these Malifaux minis that I'm not feeling the need to kind of go overboard with the paint schemes. Like I did that one a few weeks ago. That's base coat and a wash, and I'm over the moon with how that looks. I've done no highlighting on that. Maybe a little bit of dry brush silver on the gun, but there's no highlighting on that. Like, these are kind of similar. There's just I'm just happy with doing a relatively basic job on them. They're nice to paint. They're nice to paint, but there's so much detail on them that it's not like you don't have to worry too much about it. Phil Campbell, hello mate. He says, I've only found this channel recently, but your passion for the hobby and honesty comes across really well. I'm not in a Malifaux, but I enjoy the streams and reading the chat. Thanks, mate. I really do appreciate it, and I appreciate you joining the Patreon as well. I just always think there's a. I'm just seeing what size brush I want here. I just always think there's another way to do stuff. I don't have to kind of follow everybody else's lead. I don't have to focus on one particular game if that's not how I hobby. And I just thought, like, I see channels like Guerrilla Miniature Games with Ash Barker. He manages to cover lots of different games. I know he basically just does like mainly sort of like playthroughs, gameplay videos, like battle reports, but that's what he's good at. But he does manage to kind of keeps a consistent schedule. He keeps a consistent standard of video, and he covers both more popular stuff and lesser known stuff. And he's managed to build a channel and a full-time job out of it. So that was kind of one inspiration, as if like I wouldn't do exactly the same as what he does, because that's not the stuff I necessarily enjoy doing. But it gave me kind of hope that there was an opportunity to do something which was based upon multiple different game systems. And then I see a channel like Tabletop Minions with Uncle Atom, about how massive his channel is now, kind of like almost one of the benchmarks when it comes to like a more hobby type focus thing, or like a community type focus thing. And I've always enjoyed the fact that he basically talks about hobby. He tries to motivate people. He tries to break things down and make it more easy and more accessible for beginners to come in. And that's always been like another kind of thought of what I've kind of tried to do. So I've tried to take the best bits from the channels that I see as like inspiring and try to kind of put my own spin on it. So the live streams is something that not really anybody else was really doing when I first started doing live streams, and it gave me an opportunity just to get comfortable on camera, really throw myself in front of a live audience really, and kind of allow my personality to come across, rather than in the early days my very wooden talking to the camera face. Lord Mince, I see what you mean about paid stuff and understand. You feel it like it's more of a friend who goes, I've tried this out, I like it, and I think you might like it too, let me show you, if that's good. Yeah, that's kind of what I mean. It's like, I mean, there will be stuff that like that I might try and might not like, and I'll still do a review and I'll give the pros and cons and the reasons why. Just because it's not for me doesn't mean it's not for you, kind of thing. However, I still come from a place of starting to think like I'm interested in this at the start. I might not be interested by the end, but when I start kind of looking at this to play it or review it or paint it or build it or whatever it is, I'm coming at it from a point of view of actually this is something I'd probably be interested in myself. So let's see what I actually think about it. So that's why some things I say yes to, but more things I actually say no to. Things like swimwear and stuff like that. Like I get offered quite a lot of board games from like kind of smaller companies trying to like basically get some essentially free advertising for stuff that's coming out on Kickstarter and things. And I generally, I find it difficult with a lot of Kickstarter stuff, to be honest, because sometimes the quality's not there because they're just starting out. Sometimes the rules are not properly written, and essentially they're not looking for a review. They're just looking for free exposure. Basically, they're just looking for me to make a video and get it in front of people for them, and that's not really what I want to do. I'm not like. That's why a lot of people do Kickstarter videos, because they get paid. They get paid for doing Kickstarter videos. But yeah, that's not what I'm trying to achieve. Right. That's the couple of doggies done there. Let's have a little look at where we're up to. How we're doing for time. 10:30. Hey, we're doing well tonight, folks. I've got all the bases to do, but I probably won't do them tonight. I'll probably do them off camera at some point. But just as a little all-together shot here, let me just zoom out a bit. You can see where we're up to. So we've got these two fellas. We've got these couple of dogs here. We've got these runaway guys. And that essentially that's the core box. Actually, let me zoom in a little bit, see if I can. That's the core box for Lord Cooper. Let me just turn that a touch. That's the core box for Lord Cooper. Those are the models that you get. And let me get the light on so we get the right way there. Yeah, that's what you get in the Lord Cooper core box. So that's what I've been doing. So I'll let them dry a little bit. What I'll do is I'll just put the cover on my wet palette. We'll wash the brushes while they're drying as well, and we'll have a little bit of a natter. Where are we up to here? Dirk says, "I see you come prepared." I'm mega prepared when I've set my mind to something. I'm just not that organised, if you like. Being organised and being prepared are two very different things for me. In fact, I'm not going to wash the brushes out because my water's minging. I need some fresh water to wash them out. So I think I'll just enjoy my drink. Crabby's in as well, saying, "Well, good evening. Fancy seeing you out here." Hello, mate. Andrew saying, "Yeah, I too respect your honesty and or your ability to fool all of us. Yeah, it'll all come out one day. I've been shoveling money in like Scrooge McDuck. When I start doing live streams from Caribbean islands, then you'll know about it." Nick's in. Hello, Nick. How are you doing? Good morning, sir. ASDF says, "Does anyone know offhand the various methods of thinning paints has any effect on the actual colours of paint?" Essentially, mate, you've got a couple of options. If you thin it with water, it thins down the paint, but it also breaks the consistency of it. If you thin it down with thinners, like paint thinners, you're essentially putting acrylic medium, I think, into the paint, which basically thins it down but keeps a consistency. And then you've got things like Flow Improver, which basically thins it down and allows it to flow better. So it can make a difference, mate. But to be fair, unless you're painting to kind of really like if you get for example, not the contrast medium. Where's the other stuff that I'm looking for? The what's it called, and why can't I not see it? Normally all my stuff's up there. What's it called again? If I put it in the drawer or something. Not nihilide oxide. I can't see it. There's Larmium medium. That's the one I'm thinking of. If you get Larmium medium, which is essentially it's the acrylic medium with no paint in it, so you can thin that down basically. What the hell did I do? Oh, there it is. You can basically that's one way to thin stuff down. Jack Spinoza. Hello, Jack says, "New subscriber just joined the stream. Welcome, mate. Thank you very much for joining us. I hope you're well. Let me know where you're from. Let me tell me a little bit about you. Whereabouts are you?" We've got people from all over the world here, so God knows where you could be from. It said, "Great vid on the portable airbrush. I ordered one." Cheers, mate. I haven't got it to hand here. It's on the other side of the room there. But yeah, I found it for all. I've got my fancy airbrush, and my this one is as you can see there, this is the Cult of Paint Harder and Steinbeck Evolution, which is really nice with the fancy shaped triggers and stuff, and the really what I love about this one actually is the really easy way to, if I can get zoom, the really easy way to kind of just to break it down and clean it. I'm not going to do it here because I'm going to lose all the bits. For all, I love that, and I love my proper airbrush. I'm finding I'm using that kind of small portable one for just doing like quick little jobs. Just I've got some bases to prime, for example. I'll just whip that out and just prime the base. Or I want to put a bit of sort of matte varnish on. I'll just break out the little cheap one, and I'll just do that. Saves me firing up my compressor and kind of waiting for the tank to fill and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, they're good. Scott says, I've been looking around for quite a while until I found you in this community. Oops, excuse me. Just jumping off my screen there. You in this community. I feel comfortable being here. And the pub style banter as well, always well presented and varied with fun and a smile. Thank you very much, mate. I appreciate that. That's always kind of what we've tried to kind of carve out, really. We've tried to make it like a community focused thing. The variety of different videos just gives everybody something a little bit to watch, but it's about creating a community in a place where no matter what level you paint at, what game you play, even if you don't play any games or you don't paint any miniatures and you just kind of want to hang out, it's a place to kind of come. So yeah, thank you. And of course the 10k dance, boogieing away there. Marcus is saying, only weird thing, but I love having a ponytail. It makes a good place to keep my brushes when I'm painting. Yeah, I can't really say that's the thing. I wonder, is it long enough yet to? No, maybe one day. Maybe I'll get it into a beard and hang my brushes in there. Where are we up to? Lawman saying, oh my, they do look great. Yeah, I'm happy with how they're coming together, mate. Once the bases are done, it'll look completely different again. But yeah, it's I'm happy with how they're turning out. Simon Davis saying, got an early start tomorrow, time for bed. Thank you very much, mate. Take care. Thank you for coming in. Excuse me. John Kellogg saying, looks great. Love the bases. Yeah, it'd be nice once I get them some paint on them as well. Excuse me. ASDS saying Larmium. That was the one I couldn't remember. Phil says, suppose we should have seen it. I mean, who apart from a multi-millionaire YouTube streamer blue tax their minis to champagne corks? What I don't know, because you're quite new, mate. You might not realise I used to work in a wine bottling factory. I was a wine taster at one point in my work career, so access to corks was never a problem. I wasn't drinking the wine. I was just getting access to corks. Blizzard is saying, I sometimes use the appropriate wash to thin down a paint. I never thought about using a wash. Jack Spinoza saying he's locked down in Edinburgh. Well, nice to see you, mate. We've got a couple of folks actually from Edinburgh. Who's James Tiberius Wallace is normally around. He's an Edinburgh lad as well, not far away. But yeah, he's not in tonight. But thank you for joining, mate. Thank you for subscribing. Thanks for the kind words about the video. And nice to see you in the live stream. Stuart's saying Windsor & Newton acrylic medium works out much cheaper and you can get matte or gloss. Lord Maton's saying the downvote is back. The downvote is always here. I'm alright with that one. And Jackson will be, excuse me, my throat. Hang on, let me get a drink of water out of my Christmas Star Wars water bottle. And Jack says it'll be my first airbrush. Can you wait? Nice one, mate. Honestly, it's a great place to start. On YouTube, on Facebook, everything else, lots of people will tell you need to spend £200-300 to give airbrushing a go, and you need to buy the best because you won't enjoy it. I think it depends entirely on what you're trying to do. If you just want to do the basics, you don't need an all singing, all dancing compressor and fancy airbrush. You need something that will do the basics to the level that you need. And the £30 airbrushes that I've reviewed recently, I absolutely stand by my review. They will do the basics. They'll do base coats. They'll do zenithal highlighting. They'll get you kind of like primers on. They'll be able to let you varnish your models, all that kind of stuff. When you get a little bit more skill with them, you might be able to get a little bit more detailed. But at that point, if you're really enjoying it, that's the point to go and spend like £200 or £300 because you know it's something that you enjoy in doing and you want to step it up to the next level. It's like learning to play the guitar and going out and buying a £6,000 Les Paul Gibson to start with. Like, yes, you'll be able to learn to play the guitar with it, but you'll never be able to kind of fully appreciate why it's worth that much money. And if you decide you don't like playing the guitar, you've spent a lot of money on a guitar. And I see airbrushing in very, very much the same way. Too many people will kind of like get a little bit precious about it, almost a little bit gatekeepery, saying, no, like, what a waste of money. It's like, it's 30 quid. It's not going to kill you kind of thing. VJ is back once again with the ill behaviour. Nice one, VJ. Nice to see you. VJ says, I'm hyper organised, but a huge procrastinator, which sucks when you're self-employed. I don't tend to procrastinate too much. I do have like kind of like self-doubt sometimes, so I'll come up with an idea and then go, oh no, I'm not going to do that. But then I'll kind of like follow it up quickly and do something different. So I kind of like doubt myself sometimes. Generally, I'm really organised. So is that what I would say? I'm organised. I'm not really organised. I'm really prepared. When I set my mind to something, I can get really prepared and do a really good job of it and plan it all out. And I think it's the project manager in me that does that. I'm just not organised. So deciding what's my priorities and remembering to do everything, which is why things like I keep forgetting to do the podcast for the Patreons. It's why I need to kind of organise sending out the mugs and stuff like that. Those kind of things fall to the back of my mind. There's nothing here saying, have you done this yet? Have you done that yet? I don't have like a team of people telling me you got to do this and you've got to do that. And this year I need to get much more organised of kind of like writing a list of like let's get a January, let's get a February the 1st, write down all the things I need to get do this month and kind of tick them off. That's what I need to get better at. Vijay saying, I have to say, learning how to use glaze medium and drying retarder really started my painting, but now I'm painting for speed, not super useful. I've never used glaze medium, mate, or drying retarder. I've got some, what is it? I've got flow improver, but I use that for airbrushing and stuff, mate. Phil Campbell says, Bjorn Borg Esquire headband to hold your brushes. I tell you what I did, this is quite embarrassing now, I tell you what I did buy recently. I bought myself, it's like like an eye mask that you wear for bed, but it's got Bluetooth speakers in it, like Bluetooth headphones, because I always wear headphones when I go to bed. I always wear headphones, but I've got a wired one, so I end up like tying like a wire around my neck and stuff. So I bought, and like normal Bluetooth headphones are normally a bit big, so when I'm like lying on my pillow, they kind of dig in my ear. So if I then only put one in, but then if I turn over during the night, it's kind of digging in my head. So I bought this kind of like eye mask with headphones in. My God, I look like a complete dick. but my God, is it amazing? The sound's fantastic. It doesn't bother my wife when she's asleep. I'm not wrapping the wire around my neck. They're absolutely perfect. ASDF says, I was mainly curious since I plan on using NYX Mini 2 to get a colour value for various paints for a project I should get started on. That sounds way too organised for me, mate. Nick says, I think the more you thin your acrylic paint, the more you spread out the pigment and increase translucency. Multiple coats fixes that and keeps the fine details on your model. Yeah, that's why you should do multiple thin coats as opposed to one thick coat, basically. Mark says, I used to own the old shitty GW airbrush that looked like a hand flamer, and that thing I worked to death over 8 years. Is that the one you used to buy compressed air cans, mate, and plug it in? Was that what it was? Connor's in as well. He said, sorry I missed most of the stream. Hope it's all going well. Nice to see you, mate. I hope you're well too. Martin's saying he's just finished his mini for the Ace of Base challenge. Nice one, mate. Jack Spinoza says, thanks for the airbrush pointers. Really insightful. Yeah, honestly, mate, like it's don't like this more expensive one. I think this one is probably about, I'm trying to think now, it's probably about 130, 140 quid just for the airbrush on its own. My wife bought me it for a Christmas gift, not last year, year before I think it was. And is it good? Yeah, it's really good. I can get like nice control of actually pushing down. I don't know whether you can see there, but generally most airbrushes are kind of like on off, but this one has like, you can actually sort of control the airflow with it. It's got a nice kind of feel to it, and obviously pulling back when it controls it. But there's a nice kind of smooth, there we go, a nice smooth action to it. and it breaks down really nice to clean. It's good quality materials. It feels nice to use. Is it good? Yes. Do you really need it for the majority of stuff that I do? 100% no. I've got this cheap one. This one came with my compressor. It's one of the cheap kind of sort of the kind of Chinese mass market ones. It does all of the basic stuff I need. It's very similar to the one that came with the £30 airbrush. Like, I'm not good enough to use that. Everyone told me you need to get a good airbrush. You'll notice the difference. I can see a marginal difference. Is it like 130 quid's worth difference? Probably not. So yeah. Marcus says, what was that one? It still needs the glue woods pin, yeah. Lord Maiden says, I can always send you a reminder. I do it for a job. Doing it outside is not a problem. What I need to do, I used to kind of organize when I had a proper job, and stuff like that. Obviously, I had a team of people who would have team meetings and stuff like that. But I'd set reminders in my diary and stuff, like my electronic diary. What I need to get better at using is like using the calendar in my phone and sending myself reminders. As an example, I've had this phone, like I used to have a work phone. So when I basically kind of moved to working for myself, I bought a new phone and got a new contract, and I've had this about a year now. Today I set up my answer phone, like my mailbox thing, because somebody rang me and left a voicemail, and when I tried to access it, it says you haven't set up your voicemail. That shows you how organised I am. Nobody rings me. I never felt the need to kind of like do it. I only ever use my phone, like I'll speak to my wife, I'll speak to my sons. I'll text a few people, but it's mainly kind of like social media stuff, like for the stuff that we do here. Like I hardly ever like get phone calls really. Phil says there's quite a few folks who think buying the most expensive tool will make them better. All the gear, no idea. Practice and doing it improves your skills. I've had loads of people commenting on my airbrush videos saying, what a complete waste of money. That'll never work. It dropped a bit after 5 minutes. Blah, blah, blah. You know what it is? If that's what you feel, if you feel buying a more expensive piece of kit, if you think, I've never done it before, but I'm happy to spend £400 on a really good compressor and a really good airbrush, knock yourself out. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. I'm sure you'll kind of have a great time with it. But if you just want to dip your toe in, if you want to find out if it's for you, if you want to kind of see how it works, if you want to see if it's any better than using spray cans, for example, to base coat your to prime your minis, 30 quid's perfect to kind of dip it in. And it's not like it's kind of cheap and nasty. It's cheap, but it's good enough to do exactly what 90% of what we all use airbrushes for. You got that, like that last 10% is the people that do nice kind of fine blending on swords and stuff, and they start masking things off, and they do fancy kind of like freehand stuff with really fine needles. Nah, I'm not good enough to do that. Marcus is saying, different. Busey says, please show the Bluetooth eye mask. Very interesting. It's next to my bed at the minute, mate. On charge, funnily enough. Marcus says, yeah, the canned air one. Vijay says, I got the headband version of those sleep phones. They were good, but quickly realised how fast I drop off when I would put on a 1 hour podcast and only remember the first 5 minutes. Yeah, I do that. At the minute, I'm listening to basically like kind of like sleep sounds, which is essentially things like thunderstorms, rain. Like, imagine the noise if you're sitting under a canvas tent and the rain's hitting against the tent. Those kind of like sort of like earthy, natural sounds. Honestly, I am sleeping like a baby. I'm waking up feeling fresh as a daisy. It is literally knocking me out. They're playing kind of all night while I'm asleep. I am literally. I've never slept so good. Tony says I could be. Oh, Dirk's saying interested in the eye mask. I'll show you it next Monday. Tony says I could be your PA, and then we could both forget stuff. I'd forget who my PA was, mate. Phil says, do you use lube after you've cleaned it? I just saw this, do you use lube there? I got scared. After you've cleaned it, helps quite a bit when keeping the trigger action smooth. I'll be honest, I haven't, mate, but somebody the other day recommended to me using shaving foam to clean an airbrush. Shaving foam apparently is a really good cleaner. I've never done that before. But no, a bit of mineral oil I think I should probably put on it, but I never have. I've never had any problems, but I should probably start kind of taking better care of it, to be fair. Lobin says, no worries, always happy to help. And I appreciate that, mate. And to be honest, I might end up reaching out. Busey says, better grab it now, charge it, show it. I'll do a video about it, mate, and then that one will blow up as well. John says, very pleased with my 30 quid airbrush, just getting to know it, but it's been great for large areas like brown base on the Armada ships. I tell you what, mate, things like painting tanks, if you paint like 40k tanks and things like that, or bolt action World War II tanks and stuff, perfect for that kind of stuff, mate. When you're just trying to get like a bit of a gradient across a big area, or you're trying to get colours down quickly. I'm going to show you. I've got my Indomitors, the marine half of my Indomitors set. It's all primed and built and everything else. I'm going to make a video in the next few weeks, basically showing you I'm using that 30 quid airbrush to paint that army, and I'm showing you that it will do everything like you need it to do. If I didn't believe in it, I wouldn't be risking screwing up my miniatures to kind of do that. So I'm going to be doing that. Stuart says, got to call it a night, up at 5 in the morning. Good night all. Good night, mate. Thank you very much for coming in. Limbo Crazy's in as well. He says, there's a guy called Airbrush Ninja using $20 to $40 Chinese airbrushes. Amazing skills, proving it's about the artist, not the tool. Yeah, it's definitely about, like, if you know how to get there comes a point where your skills might outstrip the tool that you're using. But if you're just learning, as long as the tool's up to the job and it's not hindering you being able to use it, like, you know, just start gradually and spend money when you feel like you need to spend more. Vijay saying, yeah, the nature sounds up. Honestly, mate, it's got me like flat out sleeping well. Tony saying, I got a good tip for airbrush. Use position your thumb under the trigger to give a bit of resistance as you push down. It gives better control. Oh, let me because I tend to have my kind of thumb to the side, to be honest. I wonder. Oh, I'd have to kind of. Oh, I see what you mean. That yeah, you kind of it does because it gives a bit of resistance. I'm gonna have to try that now, mate. Busey saying, yes, you could do a video painting with it. Maybe just priming. Oh, do you mean the eye mask? Yeah. Vehicles and terrain pieces are great for honing your airbrush skills on. 100% they are, mate. Yeah, definitely. And Busey saying there, yes, Dirk, lol. Yeah, I can imagine me with his black eye mask on with a big flashing blue light in the middle. Look like a right tosspot. Right, I think we're coming up towards the end of the stream now, folks. It's like 5 to 11. I think we'll start to wrap it up. I wanna wash. Actually, no, I'm not gonna wash them out in dirty water. I need clean water to wash my brushes. Oh, actually, hang on. Let me just. If I get some water from my water bottle, that'll do. That's just fresh water. Let me just put some of that into there. Oh, of course, it's one of those that you have to suck it up, so I have to pour some out. I can wash my brushes while I talk to you at the end of the stream. There we go. That'll do. That's a good way to get. It means kill two birds with one stone. Andrew Fairbanks says, all this said, getting a new set of golf clubs to replace a pair 20 years old improved my game by 10 strokes. It wasn't in pain from how heavy the old clubs were. However, mate, that's because you'd got to a point where your skills were more useful than the clubs you were using, and golf clubs basically come on leaps and bounds with technology advances as well. The idea is, if you started playing with those more expensive golf clubs, you probably wouldn't have got the best out of them. Do you know what I mean? And that's kind of the thing I'm suggesting, like basically with these airbrushes, until your skills are good enough, or until you've decided it's something that you're really enjoying and you want to spend a bit more money. I just honestly believe that these are a great way to start. The problem I've got is the people that basically saying they're they're complete garbage and they're a waste of time. I find that quite sort of dismissive, and it's almost like as if saying to people who don't want to spend a fortune or don't want to do like anything more than the basics. It's almost like saying they're wrong. And you know, I hate it when people kind of like impart like you must do this kind of stuff to be accepted. I hate all that kind of stuff. Where's this one? Barry says, made it back. What did I miss? You missed about 3 hours or something. I'm kind of wrapping up at the end of the night now. Phil Campbell says, cheers Andy, really enjoyed tonight's stream. Night folks, take care. Thanks for coming in, Phil. Thanks for joining the Patreon as well. Don't forget, you get access to the Discord now as well, mate. So if you're on Discord, please come and join up and we can chat on there as well. Nick, thank you very much for the donation, man. It's great stream, man. You should see that spring up on your screen soon, folks. It come up on mine. Andrew says, I disagree because I hardly played. Those older clubs actually were really terrible. Okay, well, if you've got stuff that's not really very good, then that's different. But if the original clubs were good enough, like when I first started playing, thanks Nick as well. Thank you for that. Just flash up on the screen. When I first started playing golf, I had some kind of average clubs. They were decent, but they were average. And then eventually, I got to a point where I was good enough that it was worth spending like a large sum of money on golf clubs. So. Yeah, but if they were garbage to start with, mate, that's a bit different. I've not played golf in years. VG says, people on the internet being dismissive. Well, I never. I just find it really frustrating, mate. I mean, everybody can have an opinion, right? Nobody's right and nobody's wrong, right? Like, when it comes to things like hobbies and stuff, like it's everybody's entitled to having an opinion. But when it becomes like dismissive of people because they don't agree with you, or when it becomes like kind of like gatekeepery, as if to say like you're not a real painter or you're not a real hobbyist if you do this kind of thing, I just find that really frustrating. Lord Maiden says that kind of attitude makes you go, okay, I don't want to be here. Yeah, and that's exactly the kind of thing I want to promote, like in this community, and I hope people kind of appreciate that as well. Is that essentially like. It's why I get a bit frustrated when people start kind of like, it's one thing kind of giving GW a bit of a ribbon, like as a bit of fun type thing. But some people are so kind of anti-GW, they don't take it out on GW, they take it out on the people that enjoy it. And that's where I find it's wrong. It's like, you all know the stuff I mean. You've seen those comments in the Facebook groups. But yeah, like, just let people enjoy what they enjoy. Barry says, rock on, would rather have been here, trust me. You're here now, mate, that's all that matters. Lemieux Crazy says, people usually blame the tool, but acrylics are tricky to work with, clogging up and tip dry. More of a learning curve with the paint. 100%, mate, I would agree. I mean, it took me quite a while to I kind of know how to thin the paints just by eye now, and I can tell when something's thick enough or thin enough, or whether it needs to be thinned a bit more or whatever. But it took me a long time of just kind of trial and error to get to that point. But I think people forget that bit, and I think they instantly blame the airbrush, they blame all manner of different things. It's like somebody was asking me on the comments on the airbrush video, like, what's the ratio of like paint to thinner do I use? And I said, I honestly can't tell you, because I don't know what air pressure you're working at. I don't know what paint you're using. I don't know kind of what size needle you're using. There's so many variables that can kind of give you a starting point, but I think that's why a lot of people get frustrated with airbrushing, because there's too many moving parts to like when you're first starting out, and that's one of the reasons why I think using a cheap airbrush is a great way to start, because actually you need to understand how it works, and an expensive one works the same way a cheap one does. It blows air, it pulls paint through. The further you pull back on the needle, the more paint comes through. Like if you can understand the concept and the process of how that works, when you move up to a more expensive one with a finer needle and you can do finer details, you'll understand what you need to do. Dirk says, I see your point, but you're wrong. Loman says, I like to be inclusive. It's better for everyone. We are diverse. I love hearing everybody's different opinions. I love the fact that we don't always agree about stuff, but we don't fall out about it. And like I say, nobody's right and nobody's wrong. Tasty Brain Drain says, you could say to those people one of my favourite Robin Williams quotes. Sorry, but I would agree with you if you were right. Busy says, I find it frustrating when reading reviews on products. You kind of get a feel if the person is just a knob having a moan. There's definitely an element of that at times, isn't it? I hate it when I see reviews online which basically say, right, 1 star, there's nothing wrong with the product, but the postman just threw it at my letterbox. He didn't even post it through properly, and it's like, it's not the product's fault. Like, it's not their fault. The delivery company basically balls the whole thing up. Like that's not how to review a product. Right, folks, perfect time, and bang on 11. I've washed my brushes. We're ready to call it a night. And on that, John's just saying there, I did find using pre-mixed air paint so much easier than mixing it myself. Just need to learn and get the consistency right. I think, mate, I still find that I thin down like specific air paints. So I've got, for example, in my drawer here, if I can move my chair, I do have some like Vallejo, zoom, Vallejo model air paints, and I still find that I still thin those down, but you're a lot closer to to the starting point, if you like. I think when you don't really know what consistency it should be, it's quite difficult, and I think air paints definitely give you a bit of a head start. But once you know what you're doing, once you know what consistency or viscosity you need, you can kind of basically use anything you want. Everyone's saying good night. Thank you very much, mate. Lord Maiden saying you're right. It's good to see different opinions if people can be civil. 100%, mate. I don't learn anything by just listening to people that agree with me. Christian Schenneling for the Patreon there. Thank you very much to the folks that joined the Patreon tonight. Thank you, Nick, for your donation tonight as well. Peter says it ends without any drink-based discussion. Christian saying thank you. ASDF saying cheers for another fun-filled hangout. And everyone's saying thank you. Great stream. Night Blaze, Night Jeff Higdon as well. I'm not sure what the plans are the rest of this week. The stuff I'm working on at the minute is probably a bit more. I need like kind of time to work on it and stuff like that. I'll probably get maybe some the other Malifaux kind of like what's in the box type videos. I'll probably get something like that up this week. But anyway, regardless, I will see you on Monday on the Monday night live stream. Take care, folks. Have a lovely weekend if I don't speak to you beforehand. For those in the Patreon, I'll see you in the Discord chat. Have a lovely rest of your day if you're overseas, and I'll see you next week. Take care, folks. Thanks for watching my video. I hope that you really enjoyed it, and if you did, why not consider clicking on the suggested video below to see more of the work that I've done. If you'd like to support the long-term sustainability of this channel, why not consider checking out my Patreon, where you can pledge and support from as little as $2 a month, and there is lots of different tiers and bonuses which will give you access to a private Discord server. It will give you free t-shirts, free mugs, a podcast every month, and a number of other things, including getting your name at the end of every video, like these awesome folks who already support me now.